Compare car insurance with mustard.co.uk. With the cheapest online price guarantee, why go anywhere else? T's and C's apply. Details online. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Clyde One's Super Scoreboard podcast with Taggart's Volvo. Order today. No deposit or hidden costs with Care by Volvo, the flexible car subscription. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard as we kick off a first ever Saturday with VAR in the Scottish Premiership. After a successful debut last night between Hibs and St Johnstone, it rolls on to Celtic's trip to Hearts in the early kick-off. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst then hoping to give the Rangers fans a result and a performance to shout about at home to Livy. Motherwell Aberdeen, St Mirren Dundee United, Kilmarnock Ross County make up your top flight card in the company of Gordon Duncan, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Ange Postecoglou's 500th day as Celtic manager at the ground where he had his first domestic day on the job, and what a tumultuous time of it he's had in between. So far in the political world this week, we've seen that you never know the minute. In the football world, the same phrase applies. Two scenarios are possible today. One, Celtic extend their lead at the top. Two, Celtic lose their lead at the top to the under fire Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. Time to find out which is which.
Always a big day when Celtic go to Tynecastle, and it usually serves up a fascinating encounter. Hearts in a different place from where they would like to be, Celtic in top form, so it's going to be an intriguing game to kick us off. And then elsewhere this afternoon, plenty to look forward to. Rangers, how are they going to go with the crowd booing them and not happy? Will they put in a good performance against Livingston, Killie, Ross County, St Mirren, Dundee United, Motherwell versus Aberdeen? Plenty of intriguing games this afternoon, and VAR into the mix.
Yeah, I think the lads have covered it. I'm looking forward to this afternoon, Gordon. Obviously we're all excited about the first game at Tynecastle and then into the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and don't forget the Scottish Cup third round today. Absolutely looking forward to those games as well. And Hugh Keevins, we mentioned last night, it was a new era for Scottish football. Whether you like or loathe VAR, you cannot acknowledge the size of the change that has just swept across our game over the last 24 hours or so, and it continues today.
Some people called it efficient, others called it nitpicking. The fact of the matter is there were no mistakes made. The first ever VAR decision in Scottish football proved that Martin Boyle was guilty of simulation, so he'll have that following him around for a long time. Today at Tynecastle, obviously the heat is on because it's a bigger game than Hibs St Johnstone last night, but we have to focus on the football. Hearts have won 5 of their last 22 games. Celtic have scored 10 in their last 2 games. It favours Celtic today.
Let's go to the capital, Tynecastle. If it's anything like the west of Scotland, it'll be chucking it down. Andrew McLean is there with the teams.
Yeah, absolutely is. And I can't remember too many times when one of the old firm have come to Tynecastle and it hasn't been an exciting game full of drama. So I'm expecting the same again here today. An air of unpredictability as well. First of all, as you said, the rain hammering down, so it'll be a slippy surface. But most importantly, as we all know, we've got VAR in play as well today. Now, I was speaking to Ange Postecoglou yesterday. He doesn't see the hype around its introduction. He doesn't get why people are excited and want to see it, but I'm sure many of us are looking forward to seeing it in action again after its debut last night. Hearts on a really poor spell at the moment as well. No wins in their last 5. They've lost 4 of those as well. 2 of those games were against Fiorentina, in fairness, but that Thursday-Sunday schedule taking its toll on the pitch and certainly taking its toll on the injury front for Robbie Nielsen's side as well. As for Celtic, more clinical in their last 2 matches, and Postecoglou had been asking for that. 10 goals in those games, and a real rotation policy going on at the moment as well at Celtic. That's been working well in recent weeks, and that continues today. For team news, Hearts make 3 changes. Forrest, Halliday and Shankland drop out the starting lineup. In come Cochrane, Ginnelly and Devlin. It's going to be Craig Gordon in goal for them today. The back 4, Michael Smith, Toby Sibbick, Stephen Kingsley and Alex Cochrane. Orestes Kiermaier-Zoglou and Cammy Devlin are the 2 holding midfielders, with Josh Ginnelly, Robert Snodgrass and Barry Mackay in behind Stephen Humphreys. The substitutes: Clark, Forrest, Grant, Halliday, Henderson, Nielsen, Shankland, Smith and Stewart. As for Celtic, as I said, Ange Postecoglou making even more changes today. 6 This time, after making 5 in midweek, out go Siegrist, Juranovic, Taylor, Abada, Haksabanovic and Kyogo. In come Hart, Ralston, Bernabe, Forrest, Maida and Giacomakis. So it'll be Joe Hart back in goal today. The back four, Anthony Ralston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Moritz Jens and Alexandro Bernabe. The midfield three, Matt O'Reilly, Rio Hatate and Aaron Molly, James Forrest and Dyson Maida either side of Yorgos Giacomakis. The substitutes, Siegrist, Abildgaard, Abada, Kyogo, Haksabanovic, Ideguchi, Juranovic, McCarthy and Taylor. The referee for this one is Nick Walsh, and the VAR for this game is Stephen McLean.
Here we are. Nick Walsh is now the least exciting bit. You're looking at who's the guy in the warmth of the studio, and it's Stephen McLean, just as it was Willie Collum last night. Before we get to that, Hugh, because we will inevitably for the rest of the afternoon and maybe even the weeks to come, quite an interesting Celtic team selection from Ange Postecoglou.
I thought the Celtic team in midweek at Motherwell, which played exceptionally well and scored 4, was stronger than the team who scored 6 against Hibs the previous weekend. I think today's team is not as strong as the one that played at Motherwell. So you can never second guess Ange Postecoglou, but how can you argue with the man when his team have scored 10 goals in the last 2 games? But Juranovic for me is a better player than Ralston, and Taylor is having a very good season but is left out for Bernabe, who, let's be honest, is also a very good player. But I thought when Kyogo scored his first goal in 9 matches at Motherwell, I thought it was a stick-on to play today because his confidence had been lifted by that goal at Fir Park. But he doesn't, and Giacomakis does.
That is interesting. I don't think many would have predicted that after what happened midweek. And Hugh's right, not many would have predicted midweek's team after what happened at the weekend. You've got to give credit to Ange Postecoglou, because he came out at the start of the season and he spoke to the media and said that no player will play above 50 games this season, that he's going to use his full squad, that the 11 that he picked for the first game didn't mean that that was his strongest 11. Now you wonder when managers say that if it's just, you know, to keep his players on the bench happy and the players in the stand motivated, but the proof is in the pudding. I mean, a game away at Tynecastle, you would think he would bring back all your main players. Juranovic, certainly. Taylor's been one of the outstanding players of the season
and was arguably one of the standouts in midweek.
Yeah. And then there's always an argument about the forward areas, you know, because you can see the arguments for both in Giacomakis and Kyogo. Maeda come back and Forrest after the hat-trick last week, but then Abada played well and Haksabanovic did well. So it is not a strange team. It's an unpredictable team, I think he's put out, but certainly enough quality in there to win the game.
I don't think if you're a Celtic fan you're really too much worried about the team, Gordon. You talk about Taylor. Yeah, I thought he was terrific at Fir Park. I thought Bernabe last week was excellent. I look at Forrest, scores a hat-trick. Abada was terrific at Fir Park. It's just the way he rotates, and he believes everyone can come in, just fill up the roles. I said to Mark the other night there, I thought, I wonder if he'll take off his full front three, rest him for the weekend. He took off his full midfield three, and he's played his midfield today. So it just shows you the strength and depth. Great to see Forrest there. He deserves it, and he's going to Tynecastle. I still think that's a very, very strong Celtic side. Yeah,
and I guess Hart's injuries clearing up slightly. Michael Smith returning, still a whole host of first team players out at the moment. But that's your team news then from Tynecastle. We'll hear from both managers next. The Super Scoreboard podcast is sponsored by Taggart's Motor Group. Taggart's have Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. And as Taggart's are part of the Lookers family, one of the largest franchise dealer groups in the UK, you can browse thousands of nearly new and used vehicles in stock nationwide to find your perfect vehicle. They've also launched Click and Sell. It makes selling your car simple by using their trusted dealer network of over 150 sites. Why not give it a go today? See how much you could make on your old car. Taggart's have Land Rover showrooms in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showrooms found in Hillington. Check out taggarts.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now let's get back to the podcast.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
15 minutes to kick off at Tynecastle. Hearts against Celtic, always one of the standout fixtures in our footballing calendar. Let's hear from both managers then. Robbie Neilson has been on a difficult run, not helped by European opposition, not helped by injuries. Here's what he had to say before this one.
Yeah, it's a huge game for us when the NRL firm come through to Edinburgh. It's a big game and it's one we're looking forward to. We're at Tynecastle, full house. It's something that we've viewed previously against the Old Firm, and it's something I'd like to try and do again. The place will be absolutely rocking and we're looking for a good performance from the players, but also a great atmosphere for the fans. Well, this is the first full week we've had to prepare for the game. We've managed to get a few guys back as well, which is great. It's starting to bolster the squad a wee bit. In the next 2 or 3 weeks we should get the majority of them back, which will help, but this is a great game to be involved in. I'd rather play against one of the Old Firm at home, and have a great atmosphere and a great intensity of the game.
No, I don't believe that. If you're a manager under pressure, you're hoping
give
for
us bottom of the table out of confidence,
and we'll try and
you
get
don't buy into
result.
the whole free hit type narrative then?
No, because I think
he's under getting a bit of stick.
I think Robbie Nielsen's coming under a little bit of pressure now. It's well highlighted. Gordon, he's got a lot of top players missing, but you don't want Celtic, especially after the way they performed the last 2 games, turning up at your patch and you've got 10, 11 players. You're a manager, you're under a bit of pressure. Enjoy it. Well, you'll only enjoy it if you win.
What are we making though of I think it's a deliberate choice. Have you noticed anything untoward in the studio? Gordon Dalziel's turned up sporting a maroon piece of knitwear.
Well,
is that deliberate or?
Well, I've got
the only thing that was worn.
I've got a pink shirt, so I don't know what that signifies.
Well, that's Hearts maroon. That thing.
That's a wee bit like the Hearts, isn't it?
The Hearts
identical.
The Hearts stats point to pressure, and their form at home points to pressure. They've been out of the League Cup to Kilmarnock at Tynecastle. Their European performances against Istanbul and Fiorentina, they lost 7 goals and scored none over the course of those 2 matches. They've won only 5 of their last 22. They're playing players out of position because of the injury problems that they have, and they are plentiful. But last weekend, if you look at their game again against Aberdeen last weekend at Pittodrie, they could and should have scored at least 3 goals. It was only very, very wasteful finishing that cost them. So they're not exactly down and out.
Let's hear from Ange Postecoglou.
It is a challenge for every club that has to juggle sort of European competition because of, it's not just the fact you're playing extra games, but there's travel involved. There's all these other sort of things that come into it that other clubs don't have to deal with. So even in terms of focus and it's difficult to maintain or concentration on what the next challenge is sometimes. So but that's for them to assess. But it's not easy when you're kind of juggling the 2 competitions for sure.
It's become a real theme. Everyone knows it. Celtic try and start games quickly, and if they score early, then it makes life extremely tough for you. You 2 went along to Fir Park. You got the chance to watch Celtic in the flesh for maybe the first time in a while, given that you're stuck in here more often than not. What did you make of them up close? It's completely different when you go and watch them. Their movement, Gordon in particular, I was very impressed with. Hatate on the night was sensational, and his goal just highlighted that. I just thought the rotation, the movement, the way they move the ball is very quick indeed. They play at a good tempo. Look, they were patient because they didn't, they created a few chances early on. You think, this could be a frustrating night for Celtic, but you always had this feeling the minute the first goal went in, it was a case of how many, and that was the case. I think it'll be the same this afternoon. It's the same midfield. Hearts will need to find a way to play against Hatate. He takes up positions that all of a sudden you see him in the middle of the park, and then he's out playing in the wide area with Taylor, the 1-2s causing problems. He's out in the right, he's making runs. Hearts will need to find a way to stop this guy today because he was excellent at Fir Park. Andrew McLean, it's just a whole new part of any pre-match build-up now. We have to acknowledge VAR. You'll be able to see the pitch side monitor. I think I'm right in saying Tynecastle is one of the grounds which has the big screens, so that the messages should be displayed up there. Is that the way it's going to work this afternoon?
Yeah, they've got the big screens that are currently showing the team news at the moment, but they will show any VAR decisions that are being made. They did have a VAR explainer video that was up a few minutes ago. A very familiar voice was explaining it to us, the voice of our very own Gordon Duncan. So
clueless. He's clueless.
Yeah. But yeah, So obviously, you know, that's for the fans to get used to it as well. But this game will be a bit different as well to the other games in the Premiership this weekend, because this is the televised game, so it means there will be more cameras at this game than there are other games. That happens, you know, in countries all across the world, that some games will have more cameras than others just based on what games are on TV and things like that. So Stephen McLean at Clydesdale House, he'll have more angles to pour over this afternoon. It's normally a 6 camera setup that's the standard at games. It's 2 that sit along the 18-yard line, there's 2 in the gantry, there's 1 low behind one of the goals and there's 1 high behind one of the other goals. But there will be more cameras at this game. But you look at the managers as well. Robbie Neilson against the Old Firm after the game, a lot of the times I've been talking to Robbie Neilson, and he does bring up referees when they've lost to Celtic or Rangers. He's talked before about the long Glasgow blink a couple of weeks ago, so you'd assume this is a type of game that he'd be crying out for VAR, as it's often referees in his mind after these games. As for Ange Postecoglou, you know, he said he's not really bothered about the introduction. He says he's not normally interested in talking about referees, but we'll see how much use it gets today.
I didn't know they were going to play that video out at every ground in the country, I must say.
You're in everything bar a steak pie, just like I've got to say. You're everywhere.
Is that one of your new quotes for the season? Run that one by me
You're
again.
in everything bar a steak pie.
I hope you're getting paid
Is that
play.
Is that saying?
I just want to know what you have with regard to your image rights, what you're charging.
He's just signed up a
me and Daz can represent you if you like.
Imagine.
Anybody out there?
I'll tell you what,
20% of the deal.
I understand the novelty value the first weekend, but we're going to have to stop talking about VAR.
Not yet though.
No, but after this weekend we will sound like country bumpkins. Look, there's a machine.
Well, I know it's wishful thinking. It's wishful thinking because they've had it in English Premier League for goodness knows how many seasons, and you still talk about it every week. It's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, but you talk about the decisions. We're talking about the installation of it.
But I think, honestly, I genuinely, joking aside, I think that's really important, because it's important that we actually think the media have got a role to play here, and the clubs and the Scottish FA communicate with fans well. Otherwise it will never work. It will be a disaster. You can't have people turning up to games, paying their hard-earned money, not knowing what to expect, not knowing what the decision-making process is going to be, not knowing how they're going to get that decision-making process relayed to them. So I don't think there's any harm in just being clear about it all.
I have a feeling I know what your image rights are.
That sounds like a campaign to get more readouts.
I heard the word kerching there.
You're right. If I'm going along to the game,
maybe it's come up on the phone this week. People are still asking what does VAR look at, and if I'm going to the game, how am I going to know there's a check? I think that's important.
I think so.
Seriously,
communication. It is key. And not every stadium will have a big screen, of course, but
only 4 of them do.
Only 4, but if they've not got a big screen, then over the tannoy, it's key that everyone there knows what's going on, and you know that it's a quick decision, and we can get on with the game. That's no stop them, you know, for 5 minutes and 6 minutes at a time. But you're right, it's important that the public know what's going on in the pitch.
And it started well, if that's the right phrase, last night, Gordon. Look, you'll have seen the loudmouth reaction in some quarters. People were just determined that it was going to be a disaster, so said that last night was anyway, even though it wasn't. I mean, objectively speaking, last night went the way it was meant to go. Will it always? Probably not, but so far so good.
Yeah, so far so good. It'll be interesting this afternoon. It'll be interesting by the time we get to 5 o'clock if we've got more talking points about it. We will. It's about a debate in football. It's about the arguments of it, but it certainly helps our game. It helps the referee, and we're up to speed with the rest of the country. So let's embrace it and let's see where it brings us.
Kick off next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
It's almost show time. Let's get a quick recap of teams from Andrew.
Yeah, well, the teams are out on the pitch. Something I've never seen before as well. Stephen Humphreys, the Hearts player, on his way out. I mean, other sports drinks are available, but he was out drinking a Red Bull on his way onto the pitch, which is a bit strange. He's clearly on the Jamie Vardy diet before this match. But I will bring you the full teams as they line up. Celtic in the huddle at the moment. The Hearts team: Craig Gordon in goal. The back 4: Michael Smith, Toby Sibbick, Stephen Kingsley and Alex Cochrane. The 2 holding midfielders: Orestes Kearmotsoglu and Cammy Devlin. Josh Ginnelly, Robert Snodgrass and Barry Mackay in behind Stephen Humphreys for them. For Celtic, Joe Hart in goal. The back 4: Anthony Ralston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Moritz Jens and Alexandro Bernaby. The midfield 3: Matt O'Reilly, Rio Hattati and Aaron Moy. And it's James Forrest and Dyson Maida either side of Georgios Giacomakis. We've got Aaron Moy standing over the ball at the moment, and we are just about to kick off for the first half.
Showtime at Tynecastle. Almost said Easter Road. Hugh Keevins almost made the mistake. What's the prediction looking like today?
Hearts 1, Celtic 2.
Mark Wilson.
I will go one more. Hearts 1, Celtic 3.
Gordon Dalziel.
3-0 Celtic.
Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Trade accounts available now. Call them today.
And just like that, we are underway at a rain-soaked Tynecastle for what is always a fascinating encounter when these sides meet. This, of course, the venue for so many famous moments, even in recent history. Hugh Keevins, you think of Scott Sinclair, signed just before the game, comes on, scores in the last minute, sets Celtic on their way to invincibility. That invincible run then ends at Tynecastle 4-0 no less, against the Hearts team that on paper, when you look back, incredible to think they dished out such a hammering to Brendan Rodgers' Celtic, and so much in between.
And who will ever forget Ange Postecoglou? First game at domestic level, 2-1 loss to Hearts, and at that time Celtic were in disarray, and Ange Postecoglou 5 games later made sure they were not in disarray for the remainder of the season, because he went on that 32 game unbeaten run and won the title. So he'll always have vivid memories of Tynecastle.
Hugh Keevins dislikes the word, so that's why I use it in particular. Mark Wilson, the narrative that night
story
was very different from the way everyone talks about Ange Postecoglou's Celtic team now. They've come an awful long way since that night,
and rightly so. He's had a whole load of time to work with him, and me and Daz seen him in midweek. It showed, because it just showed that every one of his team, no matter if he changed them from the weekend, knows exactly the way that the manager wants him to play. The same rotation, same movements. You could take out Hatate and O'Reilly and Moy and replace them with whoever, and it would still be the same. Now, that first night at Tynecastle, he was working with a team that was handed to him. Kyogo had just flown in, Starfelt was making his first appearance. He didn't really have a number one goalkeeper, so a lot different. What a transformation. What is it, 500 days?
Yep.
He's been here. What a transformation in a side. And let's say Hearts, and the flip side, is a team that's probably in a worse situation now. So it all points to a Celtic victory, but we know anything can happen here at Tynecastle this afternoon.
2.5 minutes in, Gordon, there's no real chances, but on the basis of 2.5 minutes, Celtic look in the mood, certainly, with the speed at which they're moving the ball.
It was the same the other night. That's why I was so impressed with them right from the first whistle, Gordon. Their movement, their passing, the rotation, they just don't play in the one position. It must be a nightmare, especially in the middle of the park. Hatate pops up absolutely everywhere. On the left hand side, in the middle, he drifts short, he goes long, he comes to the right, and then all of a sudden Moy and O'Reilly just they fit into the positions. They play good width. Their fullback goes in. They have overloads in the middle of the park. It's going to be difficult for Hearts this afternoon, but Robbie Neilson, he's an experienced manager. He'll have a game plan. Whether it works or not, we'll just see.
See, this is how you know you're a student of the game, because you must be the only Motherwell fan that went along the other night and enjoyed Rio Hatate's performance.
Look, I'm all about football, Gordon.
That's what I mean. You're a purist.
It wasn't going to matter. We were never going to win that game, so I thought, right, I may as well take a positive out it. And I took out the fact I thought Hatate was excellent. I thought Celtic's movement was very good.
He's all about football, Gordon, but he did make the statement that he's
so
done with live games, that he's a TV man.
Oh, right, okay.
He doesn't like the cold and the walking outside and stuff like that.
And so much a football man that you left with 10 minutes to go.
No, I was forced to.
He was furious.
I was
when the fourth goal.
I was quite happy to stay there and clap my team off the pitch.
He actually slapped me, because he's on my right hand side facing the goal that the fourth goal goes in, and he slaps me. What about that defence? Well, we'll just go, come on.
I had to get this boy out of Motherwell, obviously, very well known.
I would have been mobbed.
Ex-Celtic player,
ex-Airdrie manager, you mean?
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a wanted man.
Aye.
Oh, I never thought of that either.
Ex-Airdrie. What was your role there again?
Tea lady. Celtic come forward looking for Giakoumakis in the box. He's got supporting cast in the form of James Forrest and Aaron Moy. Forrest, of course, scoring that hat-trick last week, and we'll have to wait to face his brother. Alan's not in the starting 11 for Hearts, is he? Or did I mishear Andrew McLean?
Giannelli's out the right.
That was great. I went through and interviewed him and asked him all about playing against his brother. Glad that worked out well.
Keep that Thursday for another day.
Is Aaron Moy, would that be 3 starts in a row for him.
Yeah, I think so. Hibs.
He's the one constant in all of this. He's doing well.
Yeah. Not well. The
Along
midfield
with
has
the other
stayed
two.
constant. Yeah, the rest is sort of rotating round about them at the moment.
In fairness, I've been critical of Moy, but the last 3 games I've got to give him credit. Even seeing him at Fir Park the other night, I thought he looked good. Slightly different player still. I'll stand by that than what I thought Ange Postecoglou would go for in there. You know, not as mobile as the other two, but can certainly pass the ball and can certainly get into forward areas, and he deserves his place in the side at this minute.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think that he needed games, Mark. He didn't look fit at all or sharp, but he's an experienced player, and I think this Celtic team suits him. He just picks up pockets of space. He's comfortable on the ball, and the minute he gets it, he's got willing runners. So it's quite an easy position to play.
I was just looking, Hugh, back at that first game for Ange Postecoglou, the one in which they lost at the start of last season. Every single member of the Hearts starting 11 is still at the club. Every one of them. Now, a lot of them are injured, because that's the way it seems to be at the moment. Celtic, on the other hand, Nir Beaton started, Ismaila Soro started, Odson Edouard started, Scott Bain was in goals, of course, Ryan Christie and Tom Rogic come on. It's just sometimes easy to forget. And I'm not even making a judgment anyway on whether this is good or bad, but just the size of the change that's gone on in the last year or so.
I think that's why Ange Postecoglou is a cult hero for the Celtic supporters. He took on an absolute shambles. There was the fiasco over the appointment of a new chief executive who lasted just about the same length of time as Liz Truss, and then he went away, and the club at that point was in an uncertain place, but Postecoglou lifted the entire club.
Now, I think we know this has got to be one of the games of the day across the UK this afternoon, but I was just looking, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, a nice old school feel about that fixture. Gordon Dalziel, we've had some nice encounters over the years, goalless in that one. I'll give you any updates as they happen, any major ones, but clearly I'll focus on Hearts against Celtic. What did you make of Andrew McLean's eyewitness account there, Mark? You ever seen a player at Premiership level walk onto the pitch with a can of Red Bull, a fizzy drink, 20 seconds before kick-off?
No, it's usually after, accompanied by an alcoholic mixer in there in a nightclub. You see that. I've never seen that before. You know, Red Bull, it's an odd choice, but see, when you see Humphreys play, you know, he certainly looks like
that he's been on the Red Bull.
He's been on the Red Bull because he's
and
lively.
He's been up and down the wings for the last 7 minutes.
I can honestly say I know other drinks.
That's what I could think.
Other drinks are available, but I've never ever tasted that.
That doesn't surprise me. I just go and get him one.
No, thanks.
Chance for Hearts
save.
for the first 8 minutes. Celtic have been camped in the Hearts half, and arguably Hearts have come the closest to scoring now as it was crossed in. It skidded up. Actually, it was a bad touch from the Red Bull man, and it fell into the path of Barry Mackay, who didn't quite catch his shot, and it's easily held by Joe Hart, which burst the bubble of what I was about to say, Gordon, because I was about to say that Celtic will be really pleased with the controlled start they had made to the game.
I think they will be, but I'll tell you what, I think Barry Mackay will be very disappointed with that effort. I think that's a great chance. I really do. And when you play against Celtic and the way they're moving that ball about and they're dominating the game just now, there's not a lot of them going to come around for you, so you've got to punish them. That was a great opportunity. Ball in from the right. You're right, it was all about Humphrey's mistake, but Mackay bounced onto it and really should be testing Joe Hart better than that.
Have you noticed though? Oh, hold on. Celtic on the attack into the box. Aaron Moy and Maeda's shot smacked into the face, I think, of Toby Civic.
Or does he think it smacked him in the hand?
Does he think it's a handball?
Oh, here we go.
Come on.
Could we get a first VAR check of the afternoon? It was certainly squared back. Now Civic is
surely not. No.
Civic is standing within touching distance of Maeda. It's the arm that's by his side, isn't it?
No.
So that's
Steve
not
McLean will not even be bothered with that.
So Stephen McLean will have probably just said to, oh, hold on though, why is it a goal kick? Is that the bit that Maeda's complaining about?
Oh well, that's a dreadful decision then, because it clearly hits Civic and goes over the bar. It's a great piece of defending from him.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
And of course, before anyone
VAR on that.
VAR doesn't look at the award of corner kicks.
That corner could have led to a goal though.
You would be there all day, but
all that does is vouch for the fact that the naked eye of the referee is not reliable. because that was a corner.
Wow.
Yeah, poor decision. I was going to say, see when Celtic work into those positions, again we'll go back to us seeing them the other night, surprised the amount of times that they don't have a goal from there. Now we seen Taylor the other night breaking into that kind of inside channel, eventually gets a goal, but I think he had two that he could have had a shot. Moyes the exact same there, where he chooses to square it. I just put your laces through it and have a go.
I suppose, do you remember the ones that don't work as backup for when, you know, if you think, for instance, as you said, it does lead to the goal for Abada. They score a lot of goals where they square it across. And
they do. I'm thinking even Champions League, maybe remember Taylor
and
Moy that night as well. It must be something. I can only imagine it's something to work on. You know, we've seen great teams like that before. Just don't throw the ball into the box. They often get a lot of their goals from cutbacks. But you just like to see some of them take a
what it does
sometime.
is for the forward players, Mark, is they take the gamble more often than not, and it pays off. As we said, yeah, we were shouting, why is Taylor not hitting that? But the one he squares brilliantly for Abada knows what's happening, kills the defender, and all of a sudden you're one down.
Neat enough couple of passes for Hearts, but then when it comes to Snodgrass, he just tries to put one down the wing for the guy that's been on the Red Bull. Good closing down though by Cammy Devlin. What I was going to say when he missed that chance, have you noticed that Barry Mackay's form dipped at exactly the moment you started praising him?
Yeah, 100%. I was hoping you didn't bring that up.
You took him under your wing into your club of exclusive players like Tom Rogic and Scott Arfield, guys that you like to praise every week. And since you did that with Barry Mackay, he's been nowhere near the same player.
I'm hoping for a big performance this afternoon, or he'll be in the transfer market by 5 o'clock tonight. 3 o'clock. His form early doors, Gordon, was terrific, but I don't think it's been the same lately. I've got to say, but he's a talented player, but he will be disappointed with probably the best chance of the game so far after 12 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, Ange Postecoglou is very performance driven, Hugh. He's all about the ways teams going about things, so he'll be pleased with the performance, won't he? I'm sure he'd have rather had more of a sight at goal, but it's been fairly controlled, I say, as Bernabe gives the ball away to Josh Ginnelly.
Hearts, though, this fixture traditionally is one that Hearts and their fans really enjoy, and Hearts, for all that their run this season domestically and in Europe has been poor, they are clearly up for the occasion. Barry Mackay ought to have put them in front. Joe Hart has had a good save, but it's one of those Celtic days so far where they're giving the ball away far too often for a start, but also bundles of possession, but so far nothing approaching a chance at goal.
Prime Juranovic has sent me a picture to say that Jim Duffy has been spotted in the crowd at Tynecastle. Are you having that as a lookalike?
Yeah, I thought it was when you turned that round there.
That's actually not too bad.
Or are you just falling into the trap of thinking that all middle-aged bald men look the same?
Big
chance for Hearts. Snodgrass is through. Great save from Joe Hart. Nifty footwork from Robert Snodgrass. Took it onto his least favoured right foot and tried to stab it beyond Joe Hart, who spread himself well, came out and made a save. And now here comes Celtic as Hatate plays it to James Forrest, just looking to escape the clutches of Alex Cochrane. Fair play to Hearts, they've got about 8 or 9 men back very quickly, strung out across the edge of their box. But here's Ralston into the box as well, and we've got an opener at Celtic Park.
And the
goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
He's as sharp as attack, the old fella. Tynecastle, and it's the man who's now on 101 goals for Celtic. It's James Forrest. Anyone know how many of the 101 were headers? Not many, I can't imagine, but a fairly simple one. A really nice move this from Celtic. Hatate, Moy back to Hatate. Ralston on the underlap gets to the byline, and when he crosses it in, there's just a deflection. It's scooped up. I think it's Keogh goes sliding in at the front post. It deflects kind of over the top of the outstretched Craig Gordon, and then a simple header into an empty net from James Forrest. Celtic in front.
Well, in terms of possession, they probably deserve it, although Hearts have had 2 terrific chances to score and haven't taken them. But that's a bit of a comedy of errors, that one. Craig Gordon going down to get the ball, his own player knocks it above him, And James Forrest, well, he loves playing against teams from Edinburgh. Clearly that's his 4th goal in 8 days.
When I was speaking to his brother Alan the other day, he seems to score against his team all the time. He scored a couple for Livy even last year when James Forrest wasn't even playing a lot. He scored, so I don't know if it's just bragging rights at Sunday dinner or something, but he has scored another. Over the peace mark, if Celtic deserved that, and also how much of a sickener's that for Hearts. They have their best chance, and as quick as a flash it's in their net.
Yeah, in terms of possession, Celtic certainly deserve it, but I mean, one end to the other, it is devastating from
now
Celtic.
Burnaby gives it away. He was just trying too hard almost to win it back, and Hearts are into the box, so Hearts maybe looking to bounce back immediately. That's a wonderful pass from Robert Snodgrass. He's got that in that locker, and here's Humphreys. It's deflected by for a corner. Good game this, Gordon.
Terrific end to end now. I was going to say before Celtic scored, as much as we were giving Celtic praise, Hearts have had the best 2 chances. Celtic got up the patch. James Forrest again, I said last week, so much still to offer to a Celtic side, but Hearts good response, and that was a good effort, putting a little bit of pressure on Celtic now.
Yeah, Hearts corner, so let's see how Celtic can stand up to this one. Humphreys is the one closest to Joe Hart. He'll try and make life uneasy. Sibic and Keogh and Kingsley up at the back, but it goes out for a goal kick. He felt it should have been a corner, but it's out for a goal kick according to Nick Walsh.
Like I said, before the goal, Joe Hart's save, crucial, and it will get overlooked. Robert Snodgrass probably took a touch extra, and that allowed Joe Hart to get out, but he was out quick. And then it's how quickly they get the ball from one box to the other, and they move it well into wide areas. Ralston, Hatate, and in the first instance does brilliant to reverse that, and then Ralston gets a wee bit of luck with a cutback. But James Forrest, just right position, right time.
I was going to say, there's no point in us overstating how good the goal was, right? It's from James Forrest, it's simple, but that's not an accident. The numbers, we always talk about the numbers, and everyone's looking for wide men to put up better numbers. Celtic's wide men just score all the time.
Yeah, because they're obviously told to get into the position in the box. You very rarely see the left-sided player from Celtic cut one back or put one to the back post and the other wide guy standing out with the box. They're always in that back post or making the penalty spot area. Abad has scored so many goals that way. Forrest is now doing it, and it's something to work on.
And then also, Gordon, though, that the ball does go down Forrest's side, but there's so much width from Ralston and even Moy and Hatate that Forrest is then
has to get clear area.
He's not the guy providing the width. He's the one that's in the box providing a sort of striker's finish, even though the ball's on his own side. And
that's why they get the rewards, because they know that they have to clear the area for players coming in there. I said at the beginning of the game, Gordon, Hearts need to find a way of stopping Hatate, and it showed again.
Well,
chances,
big chance for Hearts to cross the ball. Carter Vickers does well, and when it's flashed back in, Hatate can only clear it to the edge of the box. It's bouncing around all over the place. It was almost very good from Matt O'Reilly. Wriggled away from a couple of challenges, and it looked as if he was going to produce a really nice piece of play. Then he gave it away, and Hearts broke on them. So it's a good game, you have to say. Good for the neutral, as the phrase goes, Hugh Keevins.
Yeah, it makes a mockery of Hearts' recent form. That they ought to have at least one goal with less than 20 minutes played in the game, and that they are giving a terrific account of themselves. But Celtic, they've got their noses in front. That ought to be the signal for them to take an even greater lead. But at the moment, Hearts are on the front foot.
Yeah, it obviously remains a good chance, Gordon, but it's just when you see the Snodgrass one back, by the time he gets the shot off, he's stretching quite a lot, and it's on his right foot. So all the good work he does to get into that area, he can't quite get there to get the proper purchase on the final shot. And
that gives a goalkeeper the experience of Joe Hart to get out quickly and make that, close the angle down on it. And it was good goalkeeping as well, but it was encouraging from Hearts. I agree with you. I think they've carved open a couple of good chances. It's very open. I didn't think it'd be as open as this. I think this will suit basically Celtic in the way they hit in the counter attack, and they move the ball from side to side through the middle, and they get their movement. So Hearts just need to be careful. I love to see a home side going out there and attacking.
So foul from Alex Cochrane. Alex Cochrane, of course, in the press this week, Hugh said that Hearts need to be prepared to take some bookings, he said. And I wondered if we were going to get our first of the afternoon, because that certainly would be close to stopping a promising attack, as the rule goes.
To go back to last night's game, if VAR should discourage one thing, it should discourage diving. So the first thing Martin Boyle does is dive, and VAR catches him. So players have got to understand that now they are under greater technological scrutiny. So don't dig in, you'll get caught.
See, we're used to it. It's a bit like when these two pretend that they got an answer right on Beat the Pundit, and we can just go and play it back. We've got another goal at Celtic Park, but it's not going to stand. However,
why you keep saying Celtic Park?
Why do I keep saying Celtic Park?
Just
it's the green and
Edinburgh,
white.
yeah,
It's the green and
Edinburgh.
white.
Just
Get VAR on this. Check this.
It will be looked at. It was for a foul, presumably.
He's off.
Who though? Who's off?
He's
Who's
onside.
off?
He's onside.
Hold on a second then. Let's going to see if that gets
Ralston's
checked.
miles onside.
Wasn't Ralston a header, was it?
Yeah, it was Ralston that finished it.
He's got Ralston in the back of his shirt.
Yeah,
Hold on. He's
Nick
up now.
Walsh is doing the universal symbol. He's got his palm out. He's pointing to his ear to say wait there. He'll be getting communication from Stephen McLean and the assistant VAR. The replay operator will be pulling together all the right angles.
They'll be panicking just
drawing
now,
the
won't they?
lines.
They'll be sweating in that office just now. This is the first one, guys.
Yeah,
Don't get it wrong.
right.
Do not muck this up.
We've had one look at it, and it's convinced us that it's a goal.
They'll have done many hours of practice, but Crawford Allen always uses that analogy. Have you seen it about the driving licence? Once you get your licence, but then you need to actually go out on the road.
Yeah,
So it'll be a bit like
That's
that.
a good point. And all the players just looking at the ref now thinking, what is going on
Yeah,
here?
because we're not seeing it. And this is the bit that I suppose it does frustrate fans, that maybe a lack of clarity exactly as to what's going on. If there's a display to be shown on the television screen, it hasn't appeared, and there's nothing on the big screen inside Tynecastle either, which is a bit of a frustration then. So that perhaps is not as smooth as it should be, and they are taking their time.
I think they've got to give this.
I think we've only seen it once. Oh no,
No.
goal's not been given. Wow. Now that's the thing. As a viewer,
on.
you're going to need to see that again. Well, I've no idea.
If that's for offside,
Wow, I'll tell you what. See if they've ruled it out for a pull from Giacomakis. You're going to be ruling out a lot of goals for that.
No, I don't know. Guys, I can't see
I don't know what's
anything
happened there.
wrong with that.
And
I
that's
don't
the
know.
problem then.
because that's
So if it wasn't offside at all, then it's for a foul in the box, presumably. I mean, what else can it be?
It's not like
I'm not sure what he's gave that for.
no,
Not given that. What's been on there?
And this
Initially, we
is
thought it's offside, and Maeda is offside definitely, but he's not interfering with play. He's not touching the ball. Ralston actually stumbles, so he's well behind. Play. He makes it up. The actual Hearts defender who's outside him has actually got his hand up while Ralston's still inside him, and Ralston puts it away.
Let's just scrub this.
Just turn it off and back on again, though. Is that not usually what you?
Yeah, pull the plug out. Steve McLean.
Stephen McLean.
Stephen McLean, switch him off, switch him back on again.
And this is what we said in terms of communication. At that point, see if you are getting the message to say possible offside, then possible foul, whatever. Then you can start to form more of an opinion. We're in the dark. Andrew McLean's at Tynecastle. There is no message on that big screen by all accounts.
So in terms of communication then, if this goal that's been disallowed has a material effect on the outcome of this game, who will explain why the decision was taken not to award the goal?
Come on, you should know that.
How should I know that?
Well, you're in every stadium. You're
the voice of VAR.
You're the voice.
That's where communication falls down then.
So, but that's just like explaining any mistake, isn't it? Though I know down south they sometimes do it. There's certain.
That's what I was going to ask. Down south, that would come up. Possible offside or possible. What happens here?
Well, I don't know because
do you remember?
Yeah. Well, put it this way: I don't know if the flag went up though. Even from here, I don't know because we're not in the stadium. So someone would need to tell us. I don't think it. I'm now assuming it wasn't that because. Anyway, fun and games. It's Hearts 0, Celtic 1. Anyone want to talk about anything else?
I said to you last night that the one guarantee in life that we had was that at 5 o'clock tonight VAR would be the topic of conversation.
I do think it's for a foul. And by the way, I use that not to say that there was a foul, but that someone thinks there was. And if that is the case, Gordon, you do see Giakoumakis taking a very slight hold of is it Keogh's shirt. We're going to see a lot of goals ruled out because it was quite quick, the contact, and he kind of let him go quite quickly.
Yeah, I noticed that in the box, but it was nothing I looked at and thought.
Anthony Ralston has just hit a 40-yard crossfield pass back to Joe Hart that's gone out for a corner.
Yeah, he still looks angry that he's not he got his goal. He's a bit disappointed.
Postecoglou's face. He's looking back going, what's just went on there? What has he been trying? I'm pretty sure we didn't work in that in training. But he's put his team under pressure here. Hearts are going to swing this right on top of Joe Hart. Again, it's been a terrific 25 minutes. We've had a bit of everything. We've had a goal, we've had Hearts having chances, we've had a bit of confusion over VAR.
Well, the one thing, if you're a Hearts fan, you'll be loving VAR at this moment in time.
Corner anyway to Hearts. Snodgrass delivery, always right on the money, but it's a great defending header from Moritz Jens.
That's hard to defend against. Jens is going backwards, Kingsley's coming onto that at the back post. It's a diving header, he's strong and he gets it away. Great defending. Another corner to come though.
Well, we've not had to wait long, Hugh. We got complacent. We said last night it was too straightforward. VAR. That's not been a classic start.
Fans will say, if Celtic go on and win 2 or 3-0, then okay, that they'll still come on and moan about it. But if this has an influence on the final result of this game, then fans will say, who's going to explain to me why that wasn't a goal? And if there's no mechanism in place, then we've highlighted a fault in weekend one.
I don't expect anyone to feel better about it because of this, but at the very least, pre-VAR the goal still doesn't stand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it's a mistake the same way that it was prior to that. Yeah,
but the goal doesn't stand as given for offside, right? Now
I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm honestly not sure about that.
Right. Okay.
Nah,
where is Anthony Ralston?
I'm now leaning towards there must have been a perception of a foul. Or
do you think Nick Walsh has seen that and given the foul, and obviously it's been ticked off with VAR?
Who knows?
Because when I looked at it automatically, I thought offside. Then we watched it again. Clearly, Ralston's not offside. I don't think there's enough in it with Giakoumakis to be given a foul. So
yeah, I think you're right, Gordon. If we're given fouls for that, then we're giving a fouls for an awful lot, because there wasn't much in it. It'll be interesting if it costs Celtic. You never know.
If Nick Walsh blew the whistle before that ball went in.
But did Nick Walsh not point to say that's a goal initially?
No, I don't think so. So that would be one that probably changes things slightly, wouldn't it? Well, not slightly, more than slightly.
So why would it go to VR? Would it go to VR check if we're asking so many questions with it really knowing it? And if Nick Walsh did blow the whistle first, would have then signalled
because then the game's stopped at that point, isn't it?
What's he checking?
So a goal can't.
Yeah, a goal can be.
Yeah, but why would you check it? I take the point. Wow. We're up and running.
I love VAR already. It's brilliant.
Heavy challenge from Cammy Devlin on Moritz Jens, just back from a suspension.
It's not surprising. Listen, I was going to say a few minutes ago when James Forrest was fouled, wee bit cheeky for Cammy Devlin. Did you see him
kick the ball when he was
off
on
James Forrest, and he then went over and quickly apologised, but there was enough time between Forrest going down and him kicking the ball off him to suggest that it was maybe meant. Then that's a heavy challenge. And just a couple of weeks ago, he was sent off. What was it, in half an hour or something like that, 40 minutes or whatever?
Giovanni Van Bronckhorst did try to talk to him and try to point out that he didn't need to do that in his game, but the words have gone in one ear and out the other.
I've now settled on this as my best guess at the moment. Nick Walsh blows that whistle before the ball hits the back of the net. So really, checking VAR or whatever is pointless, waste of time anyway. That goal just can't stand because Nick Walsh blew the whistle. Should he have blown it? Well, that's a different debate. But rather, so then
is Nick Walsh just panicked and thought, let's check the camera?
Perhaps. I mean, maybe
should we check the camera?
Maybe we've been a bit clumsy with it, certainly. But if that's the case, then it's more of a referee error than an issue with VAR, Hugh, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
because he's blown the whistle, so the game stops.
But this is the worst of all scenarios.
Yeah,
because the crowd, and they paid to get there. The crowd don't know why the goal was not allowed to stand.
And it's actually a bit of a rare one then, because you wouldn't. If that's the case, they're right not to put a message up to say VAR check, because there isn't one, or there shouldn't have been one. There's nothing to tell.
It's the referee that's highlighted.
Think if that is the case, think of this as being last week. A cross comes into the box, referee blows his whistle, says a foul, no goal, and you move on.
So why did they wait for the VAR?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether he's, like as Mark says, is there a moment of panic there where you're checking it anyway, and then someone realises, well, hold on, you blew the whistle first. I don't know, and that's the bit that maybe you would need a bit more clarity on.
Well, look, we've got a good game at Tynecastle, not Celtic Park. They've moved it.
Yeah, I'll call it that at least once more, though.
Yeah, well, you were nearly Easter Road. You were closer then. But
listen, what will be interesting, right? And this is all ifs and buts. Imagine Hearts go on and win the game. Ange Postecoglou's, I'm not that excited about VAR, and I don't know why everybody. I never complain. I mean, will he be complaining if it costs Celtic and Rangers top the league, like you painted the scenario earlier? Of course, because it's a mistake.
That goes back to
somebody's point.
But that's what I'm saying. That goes back to what we say. Is that a VAR mistake, or is that just the same thing that could have done Celtic out of points last week?
Yeah, probably. So it's a refereeing mistake. But
he never seems to get that bothered about them, does he?
I guess he would when there's VAR in that's supposed to minimise those mistakes, and it could have been avoided. But
I actually think it's affected the game. It's went rubbish since the VAR decision. But
that's what we're talking about.
I don't think there's been any action. I was enjoying it. Hearts had created a couple of chances. Celtic looked sharp and had lately. There've not been too much to get me excited.
31 and a half minutes gone. Hearts 0, Celtic 1. Let's make a commitment to talking about the football for the next few moments. At least that's a really nice pass from Keogh out to Stephen Humphreys, who, his choice of energy drink aside, Hugh, he's probably been Hearts' bright spot in amongst this run that they're on. He scores the goal in Florence. He's looked lively in a couple of the games, and he's looked like he's been a good signing.
But it's amazing. I don't dispute a single word you've said, but it's amazing the uplift a team gets because of who they're playing. The Hearts have looked better in this game than they have in arguably any other domestic or European this season, and that's in spite of having an injury list as long as your arm, and they're certainly in the mood for an equaliser. Celtic will need to be resolute in defence.
I mean, even our own Andy Halliday's made it onto the bench. Gordon, he was taken off after 8 minutes at Pittodrie. Looked like a really serious one, but he's back this week. Do you think he'd have been as fit for another opponent in the division? Or
look, he'd still be in the bench. It maybe be if they were playing Rangers, he'd be in the Rangers bench with his scarf on. But it's great to see the fact that it wasn't because if you go off after 8 minutes, Gordon, sometimes you think that could be a right few weeks. But great to see Andy back, and hopefully we'll see him at some point this afternoon.
Just thinking about what Ange Postecoglou said about VAR all week, and his press conference yesterday. He's not going to go on about this. He's going to be focusing on, can Celtic get a second goal?
Of course.
And as Gordon rightly said, the performance has dropped a level since the VAR moment.
I think the full game has, though, hasn't it, Mark? It's just
to be honest, I think Hearts have actually pressing better now. I think it's taken them a wee bit to get to grips with Celtic's movement, but I think they're a lot better, which is causing Celtic a few issues getting out for the back, as they get out for the back pretty easily here on a counter attack. But Hearts have been better, more organised. You see Robbie Nielsen there on the touchline telling Humphreys when to go and when just to hold, and here he comes now. Better touch, he could have been through.
He is a danger for them.
He's a good player.
He looks decent. He looks he's what he's all about. If I was Postecoglou, I know Forrest has scored. I'd be looking for a little bit more off my front three. Maeda's not really been involved in the game. Giakoumakis has not been involved in the link up. Forrest obviously has got his goal for the header, but he'll be looking to contribute a lot more. I'd be looking to try and get my wide and my front men on the ball a little bit quicker.
34 on the clock. Hearts 0, Celtic 1. We've got a lot of exciting drama still to come. The reaction from Rangers fans to a victory the other night was quite something. It dominated these phone lines. What kind of performance will you see when Livy come to Ibrox later? Kilmarnock, Ross County, Motherwell, Aberdeen, St Mirren, Dundee United, and the third round of the Scottish Cup. Some brilliant fixtures, some really good ones to look forward to in there. Of course, it got up and running last night, didn't it? Dumbarton, first team through.
That game.
Cumnock,
Good game, really. And by the way, I'll tell you another thing. Good crowd. It's one thing about down there at Cumnock. They'll come out and support our team.
You're a big Dumbarton fan this season, eh?
Yeah, I liked them. I watched them against Aberdeen, and I really liked the way they
Want me
were
to get you
out
tickets or a signed strip?
of course, yeah, former Dumbarton player.
Listen, the last time I was at the Rock, I got locked in. I was the worst nightmare of my life. I couldn't get out the stadium.
That's a really good move, this from Celtic, and just 12 yards out, Hatate's touch is nipped away from him by Michael Smith. But it was, Carter Vickers zipped it in first and foremost. There was one touch play, triangles all over the place, and Hatate, just as he's about to pull the trigger, Michael Smith, good defending.
Brilliant play. One touch football, willing runners to run off the ball, and they're almost in. Did think maybe Hatate even had a pass onto Maeda behind him. But great play from Celtic, and they're so quick. I mean, they're that quick that they've got at the TV company with the corner kick. They take it that quick.
Hold on.
Is there another check here?
Yeah, it's a corner. Just a corner to Celtic. As Aaron Moy whips it in. It didn't look like there was many Celtic players in and around the area, but Hatate is going to drive it all the way out of play.
You see, you praised Hatate to the heavens, and he's gone.
He said, yeah, I thought
played a key part in the goal, didn't he?
Yeah,
I still think he's been good
his
today.
movement, look, he's running. That's what I tell you. I've got to say, I'm disappointed he's not taking a better touch than that. I was expecting that to end up in the back of net.
You've killed him.
But see, if you watch his Hugh, you can tell a footballer with the intelligence of running off the ball, making space for himself. He's absolutely brilliant at it. I didn't know how good he was until I watched him at Fir Park on Wednesday night. I thought he was really, really good, intelligent player.
No, it's amazing. I was reading today.
There's a bit of a worry here for Hearts. Humphreys has just sort of gone down off the ball, and the press from Hearts, see when it doesn't work, Mark, you saw Snodgrass, he went forward, it got popped round him, he turned round, none of his teammates are there, and he just sort of throws his hands up, because you know that if you don't all go together,
you're done against this side, because he'll move it that quick and carve you home. But as Humphreys back up on his feet now, I was going to say about Hatate, he's not in the Japan starting lineup, which is...
I know they must have some good midfield.
They must have some good players if he can't even get a game and not even getting involved or coming off the bench or anything.
He's not happy here.
Yeah, I think Stephen Humphreys might be...
What was Robbie Nielsen giving it to the fourth official for?
Yeah, what could Robbie Nielsen be complaining about right now, Hugh? I can't remember any decisions. Or maybe that corner, actually. Maybe that's the one.
I always say, for every game, Robbie Nielsen feels that every game is a miscarriage of justice where Hearts are concerned. So he moans his way through every game. Every fourth official in the land knows that the voice they'll hear when they close their eyes at night is his.
Yeah, Lawrence Shankland coming on for Stephen Humphreys, which that's a blow because Humphreys has been good, but it's not exactly a bad sub to bring on.
I think different players though. You know, Humphreys gives you that physicality, pace, he's direct. Shankland probably relies on people feeding him in about the box, so I think that's a disappointment for Hearts, even though Shankland is a good goal scorer. But Humphreys certainly keeping Carter Vickers and Jens occupied till now.
We're just watching the goal again, and I witnessed the other night there as well. See the amount of players at this level against Celtic and teams that Celtic, Rangers for instance, two top teams that ball watch and don't go with runners, kill themselves. I seen Barry Mackay there, and he just switched off from Ralston, followed the ball. Ralston gets in behind Hatate.
From a defensive point of view, Mark, how bad is that from Hearts, or is it a bit unlucky? I mean, does Craig Gordon have time to shout to let Keogh know that he can leave it? I mean, Keogh slides in and it pops up. Look, it obviously looks bad and it looks quite embarrassing, but
I mean, Gordon, the chances of that happening, you could have run that 100 times again, and I don't think it would have popped up to James Forrest's head, you know,
over Craig Gordon.
It's incredibly unlucky. I think the defender's made his mind up fairly quickly, so is Gordon. It's bad fortune, I think, from a Hearts point of view. There's not much you can do about that. What you give Celtic credit for is having players flooding the box for something like that happening, and Forrest just taps it in.
I think you're more angry with players getting in behind you. That's and causing the problem. Sorry, Hugh.
No, just going to say, I think Ange Postecoglou will be disappointed it's only 1-0. They've had an awful. I mean, he would have to concede that Hearts were unfortunate, might have scored on a couple of occasions. However, it is 1-0, and the amount of possession that Celtic have had, I think he'd be disappointed that they haven't added to their lead.
But see, flipping that, I think Nielsen,
maybe they would have or should have if Nick Walsh hadn't been a bit quick on his whistle.
Yeah, and plus the fact, I think that Robbie Nielsen will be thinking, we've created 2 really good chances here. Mackay, for me, Barry's got the ability, of course he has, to put that in the back of the net.
Barry now, is it?
Yeah, well, I know Barry very well.
First name terms now, okay.
Well, I worked with a lad, and he's not there because he
obviously non-finishing.
Free kick to Hearts in a dangerous area. Moritz Jens pleads his innocence. Nick Walsh felt it was a free kick. Josh Ginnelly was the man who goes down. I think Jens will probably be booked as well. So, where it was, stopping a promising attack, as they say. I mean, he does have his hand sort of on Ginnelly's face, which isn't not ideal, Mark.
Yeah,
there's a bit of a height difference.
I think it's the right decision there. I think Jens just gets caught out, and Ginnelly's quick, so Ginnelly's getting there, and he's fouled him. So correct decision.
Now this will be an interesting one because it's on the angle, but with the left foot of Robert Snodgrass, he's probably going to just aim it right at that back post. It's a very wet surface. If it gets a nick, great for him, and if not, it might still nestle in that far corner. So that will probably be the game plan from a Hearts perspective, unless Barry Mackay takes it. No, but here comes Snodgrass, and it's just a header wide, well wide from is it Keogh up from midfield? Yeah, just.
You need that just to flick off your head.
He gets that all wrong, doesn't he?
Anyway, I even think, see if he misses that, I think it's at a good height that bounces in front of Hart and it's more difficult. But he's had it full on and cleared it.
Is that a clearance?
I think you just need that to skiff off your head, Gordon. That causes problems. You don't try and put you don't try and direct that one. That's just a flick. And let that.
It's an experienced goal scorer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I've got that bit there. The ball.
The bald patch.
It's not the ball.
It's getting worse, by the way. I didn't notice that the other day.
Yeah, well, I've had so many balls.
Are you going to end up totally bald soon?
No, not at all. No.
To be fair,
I've got a 4-hour flight booked to Turkey soon.
I don't defend this guy very often. The man's in his 60s. That's a fair head of hair for a man
Gordon,
of his
thank
vintage.
you very much.
He's got a fair
prime
fringe.
He's hanging on to
the rest of the hair.
I don't even look at it, but seeing the boy cuts it, know how they get some mirror. I've got to stop. Don't put that down. Don't even waste your time with that, sir.
James Forrest and Aaron Moy not quite on the same page. It started off a neat move and ended up in a Hearts throw-in.
Yeah, slack Celtic. That was just carelessness on their part. Hearts would love to score before half time, obviously, but I repeat, I think Ange Postecoglou will be disappointed with the overall nature of Celtic's performance is such that they ought to be more in front.
I still think he'll be relatively happy, Hugh. He's in front of a difficult place.
I don't believe in happiness.
I think they've played with the same intensity. I'm amazed when I seen them midweek to now. The rotations are like for like when you see the way that Bernabe and Hatate and Maeda move in comparison to Taylor and Haksabanovic, and then the similar side with Ralston and Forrest. It's exactly, it must work in that constantly. That takes a long time to get right, and not for just 11 players, remember, for a full squad of 20 plus players to know their jobs. I think they've done that again today, but Hearts have been better after they conceded the goal, I think.
Mark, you're right. If you're away from home and everybody goes difficult place, you're winning 1-0. I would still think the only thing you'll be looking at is Maeda, for instance, not done enough for me. Giakoumakis has not been involved. The ball comes in there, but
that's going to be a penalty.
That's a penalty.
No, they'll check. They'll check. That's the thing.
Penalty kick.
The Hearts doing the old Man United thing
surrounding Nick Walsh. So right now, what should be happening is in the ear. Someone will be saying to Nick Walsh that they're checking that.
Right.
To the naked eye right now, so that looked like a
So now
a
if Celtic go and score here
we go.
It could rule out the goal. I think VAR might well go back and award this penalty to Hearts. Nick Walsh has obviously learned he's panicked maybe because he blew the first whistle too quick, so he could have blown the whistle there. We've seen it back. That's going to be a penalty, is it not?
Well, it certainly looks a penalty for us.
That's going to be a penalty.
Right, do you know what's
I'm amazed that
annoying
the
me
ref doesn't give that.
Why is the referee not giving
I'll tell
that?
you why. Because he because of what he did 10 minutes ago.
That's that's a penalty kick. Everybody can see that's a penalty kick.
Well,
Celtic fans will not even disagree with that.
Well,
Devlin does well. Devlin does well.
This hopefully is what it's here for. So Nick Walsh is getting the communication from Stephen McLean and the assistant at the moment. He's got his hand in his ear because this one should be checked. It's right to be checked.
There are Celtic fans now dialing,
and there we are in the stadium on the big screen. It says VAR checking possible penalty foul.
Celtic fans are now dialing 951-1025 and prepared to wait for 3 hours.
Yeah, these are the. I know it's going to get lost, but these are two different things. The first one's a mistake from Nick Walsh. He blows his whistle too quick, and VAR cannot then do anything about it. This, what we're seeing right now, is just exactly how VAR is meant to work.
Yeah.
So next step is he going to get asked to go and
no, he can't because
look at the monitor.
What's baffling me, like Mark, is he's got a good position. Now, how does he not
stand
again? But that's obviously why, isn't it? It's in the back of his head because he blew the whistle too. But anyway, who cares as long as it reaches the right decision?
That's a good point. That's a good point. You know,
you're
trying to keep in with your voice of reason.
No, listen, let's stop that stuff because that is what it's there for.
I totally
Can you get the right
agree with
decision?
If we all agree it's a glaring penalty, what's taking them so long?
It's a definite penalty. There's Devlin having a word. Devlin does well to stretch out. Carter Vickers much bigger than him. You think he's favourite. Devlin gets in front of him.
There we go. He's gone over to the monitor. There is your piece of Scottish footballing history if you're into that sort of thing.
He looks nervous.
The first Scottish Premiership referee in a domestic game to run over and check the pitch side monitor because it didn't happen at
Has he
Easter
got
Road
to do
last
that,
night.
Gordon, or could he have just went and...
No, well, listen, you've watched VR long enough. You know this means he's probably given it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's enough that Stephen McLean and the assistant say, Nick, come and have a wee look at this. And he'll know that though, because I'm playing amateur psychologist. I think he was waiting for the cushion of VAR there because he blew the whistle too quickly.
100% agree.
On the Celtic goal, he does the gesture and he points to the spot. Penalty, Hearts, inside first half stoppage time. So Lawrence Shankland's been brought on. Will he take it? Very possibly.
Yeah. Well, they're a first plus. You're right. We eventually got to the right decision.
Maybe took a bit long.
Ted, but
I think for that one, it's so blatant that you wonder why it did take them that long. You know, that's a pretty simple decision. It's a penalty kick. Just got on with it.
There we are. It works this time. And Lawrence Shankland, who's just been brought on as a sub to replace Stephen Humphreys, will have the chance to level things up beyond Joe Hart. He scored some important penalties for Hearts, and in fact Scotland, if you remember, he took one in the shootout, didn't he, against Israel. So let's see what he can do. A big moment in the match, this, a big talking point for sure.
Could be his first touch here, is it, Shankland?
And Lawrence Shankland up against Joe Hart.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Shankland goes down the middle, Joe Hart goes to his right, and at the end of the first half, after a VAR awarded spot kick, it's Hearts 1, Celtic 1.
My nightmare scenario was that Celtic would be the first team to be on the end of a VAR controversy, because no one quite takes that sort of thing as badly as the Celtic fans. So if this is the cause of Celtic dropping anything at Tynecastle, we can forget about.
But it's the right call though.
That doesn't bother Celtic fans. They will say that they were denied a goal through Anthony Ralston, and the referee has balanced up the mistake.
Hold on.
Can deny that.
Let's let that play out later if you want. But these are two different things. We've got a responsibility to be accurate. Nick Walsh blows his whistle too early. VAR can do nothing about Anthony Ralston's goal. Then VAR kicks in. Did it take a while? Perhaps, but that's a penalty. Everyone agrees that's a penalty.
So I'm not. What I'm describing to you is the reaction.
No, that's
of the
fine then.
Celtic
But
fans.
let's let that play out rather than us planting that seed.
And it will play out. Don't worry.
Nothing wrong with that, Gordon. You're happy with the award?
Look, I 100%, and I'm happy in the fact that Mark and I, in fact, everyone else shouted it was a penalty kick. Nick Walsh played on. Eventually, he had a look at it. Steve McLean had a look at it. Yes, did it take a bit of time? Yes, it did. But did we get the right decision? 100%. And I think every Celtic fan in the land will be disappointed, but they'll know it was the right decision.
Yeah, there can still be a sense of injustice, Mark, because you guys felt that the goal should have stood from Anthony Ralston. And and maybe it is semantics, the type of mistake that was made there, that's just the type of mistake that could have happened last week. It's not necessarily a VAR one, but the second one was.
I get look, it's a definite penalty, got to the right decision. I get what Hugh's saying about Celtic fans, because the people who didn't study the video will say, well, I thought it was supposed to highlight your mistakes by the referee, so it should have stood. Whether you'd think there's a lot in it with Giakoumakis, but Nick Walsh obviously seen some sort of foul there and blew his whistle. It's hard for us because we're in the studio, we can't hear the whistle going.
Is it that everyone said, and Robbie Nielsen said, it will require patience, it takes a bit of getting used to? Is that, I don't know, is that something that in 3 weeks Nick Walsh doesn't do? He's not so quick on his whistle, and he just lets that goal stand, and then VAR checks it anyway, and if there is a foul from Giakoumakis, it gets ruled out. I mean, that's the way it's meant to work.
It is still going to be a learning curve for the referees. Now that doesn't help the Celtic fans or the Celtic players or Ange Postecoglou.
Here we go again.
Yeah, for a handball on Michael Smith again, it will be checked.
Check the penalty.
This game will finish on Tuesday.
I think this is. You know what?
That's a penalty.
Not going to have the second one. It's a penalty. It's very close to Michael.
That's a Stonewall.
We're getting another, Hugh. We're getting another.
Yeah. Now, if he doesn't award the penalty here, I'm going home.
It's a Stonewaller. Michael Smith. I don't know what Smith's thinking.
Well, it's not. Ange Postecoglou doesn't. He's got his head in his hands. He can't believe it. So they're obviously not checking this one, or what? Maybe they feel that it was too close to Michael Smith.
That's the first time I've ever seen Ange Postecoglou react in that fashion. He is bewildered. He's disgusted.
Wow. Now that is outrageous. Outrageous.
Let's go to Tynecastle. It's half time. Andrew McLean.
Yeah, Hearts 1, Celtic 1, the half-time score at Tynecastle. James Forrest's header cancelled out by Lawrence Shanklin's penalty, and plenty of VAR action as well for us to see in that opening 45. Celtic, as you'd expect, dominated the ball in the early stages, but it was Hearts who got the first shot on target. They worked it down the right, the ball driven across the box. Barry Mackay's shot turned out to be a relatively simple save for Joe Hart. And another good chance for them 14 minutes in. Joe Hart did well this time. Robert Snodgrass with good feet to get into the box, but Joe Hart, he rushed out, closed the angle before making the save. Then less than a minute later, Celtic opened the scoring. Smart work between a few players on the right wing. Ralston's cross deflected off Kiemorzoglu. That took the ball away from Craig Gordon, and in the middle of the box there was James Forrest to head into an empty net for 1-0. Then the first VAR talking point, although I'm not really sure it's down to VAR this one, because Anthony Ralston headed into the back of the net. It was at the back post from a free kick. Nick Walsh looked as if he'd blown for a foul. There was no indication of a VAR check on the big screen. The game was paused for quite a while. Nick Walsh appeared to be communicating with Stephen McLean. I'm sure Nick Walsh blew the whistle as well before the ball crossed the line, so the goal couldn't have been given in any circumstance. It took a while. Eventually he signalled for play to continue. Just before the break though, Cammy Devlin was wiped out in the box. It looked a clear penalty in real time, but Nick Walsh, he then waved for play on. The ball went out, and after a long stoppage in play, he was told to go to the monitor. He then had a look, made the VAR gesture and pointed to the spot, and that was met with goal celebrations from the Hearts support before the penalty had even been taken. No issues for Lawrence Shanklin from 12 yards. He fired down the middle, and that was 1-1. And then just before the break, Celtic claiming for a late penalty for handball. Nick Walsh stopped the game momentarily but waved for play on. Ange Postecoglou, not far in front of me now, didn't look happy at all. He was shaking his head and smiling, and a bit of a sarcastic clap towards the fourth official as he walked down the tunnel. Plenty of action in this first half. It feels like a game that's been going on for a lot longer than 45 minutes. The half-time score here, Hearts 1, Celtic 1.
Wow, Hugh Keevins.
Nick Walsh is having a nightmare as referee. Ange Postecoglou, I repeat, I have never seen Ange Postecoglou act in that manner in the 500 days that he's been Celtic manager. He's disgusted. He knows that his team have not been given a penalty that was a stone wall penalty, and on weekend one of VAR we are up to our neck in controversy because Celtic have been in the first half done out of a goal that was a goal, and have now been refused a penalty that anyone at all in the stadium. Robbie Nielsen will come on and tell you it wasn't a penalty, but that's Robbie Nielsen. They've been done out of a goal and a penalty. We are in for it now.
There's three different versions here, Mark. Three different issues all at play, adding together to make one big mess. In the first one, Nick Walsh blows his whistle too early, right? Mistake. VAR can't do anything about that. That's not necessarily a VAR drama, other than could have just come into play if Nick Walsh had just let things go. You then move on to Nick Walsh, maybe because of that he doesn't blow the whistle for Hearts penalty, but then that's fine because it's there to check these things and it gets correctly given. Everyone's okay with that one, yeah. I mean, it took a while, but in theory we got there in the end. You just wonder at the end, so how is that not a penalty, is the question Ange Postecoglou was asking when he had his head in his hands.
Hugh's right. I've never seen the Celtic manager react like that. And Hugh is right also. It all adds up to the referee having an absolute nightmare, because the first goal that should have stood for Ralston, he has made the mistake. You're right, VAR can't do anything about it after he blows the whistle, so it's the referee's mistake. He also makes a mistake in not awarding the Hearts penalty, but VAR does its job and gets him out of hole. He then maybe or makes a mistake when not awarding the handball, but he's maybe waiting in VAR. Now how VAR looks at that and cannot give a penalty is beyond me, because Michael Smith moves his arm out away from his body and it clearly hits his hand. It is a penalty kick every day of the week, and it's been a 45 minutes that I don't think we'll forget for a long time. And we're supposed to have this technology introduced to help us make things smoother, and it's anything but.
It's not going to be boring, that's for sure. It's been an interesting first 49 50 minutes, whatever it was,
an hour,
whatever, and it will be the same the second half. Will be interesting to hear a Celtic manager. It goes down to their pros and cons. Obviously we all agree in the Hearts situation. Some of us debating, was it a penalty kick? I think, like Mark, like Hugh, I thought Celtic should have had a penalty kick, but it's down to opinions again, and the officials seem for some reason to say no, it wasn't a penalty kick. They've looked at it, double checked it. And I think if you're a Celtic supporter or involved with Celtic, you'd be very disappointed with the decision. If your Hearts, on the other hand, you're loving VAR.
Wow. I think we need a breather.
Yeah, but we really did not need this weekend one of VAR, because we've just proved that the whole thing is flawed if the referee doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and I guess though that's the case everywhere, isn't it? That's the whole point. It's subjective decision making. You all can stand there all day long and say it's a clear penalty, Michael Smith handballed it. If someone else doesn't look at that the same way, then there's no technology ever going to.
No, but I don't understand then what rules are they looking at? We're all standing in this studio.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm talking about the concept of subjectivity.
Of course, and that's why when we heard VR was coming in, loads of people, well, the good thing is you go down the pub after the game and you argue about the refereeing decisions and all that will be gone, and we all say it's nonsense. It will still be there because you're right, some people look at things differently, but when there's glaring errors like that, then I'd be amazed to find anybody that says that one at the end of the half wasn't a penalty.
Well,
the goal
there's people already said it. Steve McLean and Nick Walsh
apart from them, because I think anybody that's played the game, anybody who pays their money to go to the game,
their argument to you will be then they've refereed hundreds and hundreds of games and they feel that look, Mark, I'm agreeing.
But the argument is he's already had two mistakes before that,
right? But
before that third one.
But I'm not saying that it wasn't a penalty. I thought it was a penalty kick, but the officials don't seem to think. But once again, it's down to opinion, and the refereeing officials seem to think maybe they're looking at Smith and thinking, was it too close to him? Right, we all agree that I thought the Celtic won the Hearts penalty kick, as we see it again and again. I think that it'd be very hard to deny that. The first one, I think you get right, Gordon, the fact that Nick Walsh puts himself in such a position, he blows too early and causes himself a problem. Penalty kick, I agree, I think it's a penalty. I'd give a penalty kick. The officials seem to think it, we're seeing it again. Is it too close to him? I don't think that is. I think that's a penalty kick, but the officials have decided not. That's a penalty kick.
I mean, it's almost basketball. It's almost basketball, and he's a perfect look at it. The referee, I repeat, is on the day incompetent.
We need a breather. Second half's coming up next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
What a start to the afternoon at Tynecastle. It was certainly never going to be dull, the VAR era in Scottish football. It's Hearts 1, Celtic 1. That doesn't really scratch the surface, Hugh Keevins. We've had all sorts of drama already.
Yeah, and unfortunately it has highlighted various flaws And if Celtic drop any points at Tynecastle, and the leadership of the league should change by 5 o'clock tonight, then oh dear, I shudder to think. But we cannot get away from the fact that the one guy you were relying upon to have a good afternoon, Nick Walsh, is unbelievably bad.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Mark. I get that it's part of a bigger picture. You'll never be able to separate it completely. But is that 45 minutes? Hugh says it's highlighted flaws. Has it highlighted any serious VAR flaws, or has it highlighted Nick Walsh's flaws?
Yeah, probably referee. Yeah. I think we were always going to get teething problems with referees, and the right time to blow. Look, we've seen it in England as well, and it's taken a long time. So we shouldn't be any different up here. But we can't just ignore it. It's been a nightmare for the referee in the first half. VR's been right, in my opinion, in the Hearts penalty. I don't think there'll be many that disagree in that. But I'm at a loss for the handball. I really am. That Nick Walsh didn't see it, but then he's got his backup. He's got the guys in the truck watching it, and they don't give it. So I'm at a loss for that.
I don't think it's anything to do with VR today, this afternoon. I think that the officials have called it wrong. The only thing I will say was good about VR was the fact that it gave Nick Walsh that get out of jail card, because if you're a Hearts supporter, forget Celtic now, if you're a Hearts supporter, you'd be screaming at the TV and you'd be screaming in that stadium, it's a penalty kick. He got that one right, but the VR have highlighted the penalty kick, for instance. The officials have gone against that. They've looked at it and went,
honestly,
it's not a penalty kick.
And this is just a theory of mine. I know not many people care what I think. I think any other week Nick Walsh gives that as a penalty, though. I think we need to get away from that. I think Nick Walsh knows fine well that he can just let VAR help him on the Hearts one, because he blows the whistle too early on the Celtic one. So I'm not sure we should go too heavy on Nick Walsh got that wrong by not awarding Hearts a penalty. I think on another day he gives that. That's my amateur psychology bit over.
Right, okay, I totally understand where you're going with that, and I would probably agree with you. But in other ones, I think the VAR have highlighted the penalty. He's taking his time. Steve McLean's there to help him as well. They have decided as officials it's not a penalty kick. We all believe it is, but they've decided not.
Just the way that you would on another week without VAR. But the whole point, Mark, is if you think it is, you're meant to have another set of eyes. And
my worry for Nick Walsh is that he's in there knowing subconsciously that he's had a nightmare.
I think particularly on the first one, because look, we can go round in circles all day. See if Nick Walsh and Stephen McLean don't think the Hearts one's a penalty. They don't think it's a penalty. Great for us to argue about. If they think the hand wasn't outstretched enough, or they think it was too close to him, fine, you can disagree. But the first one, he must know, Hugh, that he blew that whistle too early.
And that's why I worry for him in the second half, because he's now thinking, I'm all over the place. Television's shown me to be all over the place. VAR has shown me to be all over the place. And Kyogo's on and we haven't even thought about it yet.
Or Mark Wilson, he thinks, no, I saw Giakoumakis pull a shirt and that is the right call, and that goal shouldn't have stood.
Well, if that's what he thinks,
we've all been a bit too presumptuous.
Maybe.
There was contact.
There was contact. Look, we saw it on TV. Now that is subjective, if there's much in it or not. 45 to go, it's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, we're underway, by the way. There's a football game on. And did you say Kyogo came on at the break, Hugh?
I saw Kyogo come on.
We didn't even notice him, did we?
I didn't notice that. Are you sure?
100%.
I thought Giakoumakis was still there.
Stood there. Maybe my head has went over.
No, I don't think so. Anyway,
please tell me Kyogo's not come on, please.
There's Kyogo on the ball now.
No, that's Hatate. So Giakoumakis still leading the line for Celtic, and it is, well, we're underway. No changes for either side. Hearts, of course, get forced into the change, and well, it worked because I don't know if Lawrence Shankland touched the ball, but he's a decent penalty taker, Mark, and he dispatched it well.
Straight down the middle. Always like
you like
that. I would never have had the courage to do that.
You were going to say something else there, weren't you?
The bravery. Bravery. No, but it worked out well in terms of they've got a natural goal scorer just to step up and take that. Got to say, right, take VR out of it. I think it's been a great game of football. It's been open.
Celtic haven't been that impressive, by the way. That's what Ange Postecoglou, he's annoyed at the ref for the first time since he came, it seems, but he won't be happy with the performance either.
I said to you first half that he'd be disappointed with the fact at 1-0 that it wasn't an even greater lead. And I think when you reflect on it, Joe Hart has had to make a very good save from Barry Mackay, and an even better one from Robert Snodgrass. So, and Hearts are right up for it at the start of the second half. So it's one of those days.
And we've got a goal at Tynecastle.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's Lauren Shankland at the double. Hearts 2, Celtic 1. A blistering start to the second half for the Jambos, and they lead in the capital. Lauren Shankland again,
Well,
Hugh.
I said to you at 12 o'clock, there are two scenarios. Celtic extend their lead at the top, and the other scenario is Celtic lose their lead at the top. And at the moment they've got a real job on their hands.
Offside, I told
No,
you.
no, look at Burnaby. No. I mean, it'll be checked, but I think when Burnaby slides to try and cut out Janelli's cross, it'll be looked at.
It's tight. I think this will stand.
See, in real time, I thought, oh no, we're going to get another one here. But none of yous reacted.
Well, the offside thing's good. It's good that they checked that. But
it's
I
great
think
play, you've got to say.
to the naked eye, Mark, which you can never rely on. We'll see what happens when the lines are drawn. But when Burnaby tries to close down the cross, it looks like he's more advanced than Lauren Shankland.
It did to me. I think it'll stand. I'm looking at it as a poor piece of defending.
Yeah, goal stands and Celtic trail at Tynecastle.
So now they need 2 goals if they want to be ahead of Rangers when they kick off at 3 o'clock against Livy.
No, they'll still be ahead of Rangers.
It would,
remember.
Yeah, but Rangers
5 o'clock.
have the opportunity to go above Celtic. That's what I mean.
I mean, the Celtic would still be top with a draw, wouldn't they? Unless Rangers win by 12, 15 goals.
I'm a great believer in fate, and this is turning into a kind of fatalistic experience for Celtic.
We can pick the bones with Celtic here, no doubt. But I thought that was a terrific goal of Hearts.
Yeah, really good.
Great wing play, and Shanklin, I watched him. That's what his strengths are. He's not a great link-up player. He'll not do the Humphreys role, but you put decent balls in there, that's terrific striking, and he gets his reward, and it's a very good goal for Hearts. What a start to the second half.
Daz is right. It's brilliant wing play. I said when Shanklin come on, he relies on others to provide him with service. He'll occupy the 2 centre halves in the middle of the box. Exactly what he does, and he puts it away fine. If you're a Celtic back four though, and Hearts have got one player in the box here, you need to be picking him up. Carter Vickers gets the wrong side of him. He's got his arm up right away. Defend the situation first, and then worry if he's offside or not. And it's a dreadful start from Celtic, because I know it was only a couple of minutes, but Hearts had it out to Janelli just before then as well, and they had a promising attack. So
I agree
Celtic
with you,
need
Mark.
to wake up here.
I think Carter Vickers, who is a fan's favourite, I thought he was terrific last year, and he's a big player. I thought he was very poor.
Well, he's just done really well to fire a ball into Hattati, but I feel like Hattati's ball's too much for Aaron Moy. Ange Postecoglou is never shy in making changes. Kyogo, Haksabanovic, Abada.
Yeah, they'll all need to come on, because VAR has had a look at the Hearts goal, and of course Burnaby, as you rightly pointed out, Gordon.
And it's not even that close, is it?
Yeah. But they'll all have to come on, because as things stand at the moment, Celtic are not making any impact on the Hearts at all. And Ange Postecoglou, I don't think he can even afford to wait till the traditional 1 hour.
I know you're a big fan of him, Gordon. Are you sure Burnaby's as close to Greg Taylor as you've suggested in recent weeks?
Would I pat him in the back for his defending there? No, but I'll give the winger a bit of credit. He was positive. I like Burnaby. He's a young lad. He's new at the club. He's not playing every week. Greg Taylor is obviously number 1 left back. I was very impressed with him the other night. His link-up play with Hattati was brilliant. He creates the goals as well, but I think he's still got a very, very good future. But he'd be disappointed. But take that away from it. I think Mark's got a great point. There's one player in that box in maroon, and he gets on the end of it and scores. So I think there's more than just Burnaby on the left hand side to take a bit of responsibility.
Yeah, Celtic have never lost after opening the scoring since 2018. They've played 108 games since then, and if they've opened the scoring, they've never gone on to lose. That's the way it looks at the moment, unless something drastic happens in the next, well, there's still plenty of time, of course, 40 minutes. As Hattati squares one across and here it is for Aaron Moy. What an absolute sitter. An absolute sitter for Aaron Moy inevitably VAR will get some blame and Nick Walsh will get some blame, and that's okay, Hugh.
Yeah.
You've got to help yourself as well. That is an absolute sitter for Aaron Moy.
It's only 2 minutes since I said to you I'm fatalistic about things, and for me this is not Celtic's day. There will be things that they can blame, and rightly so.
Oh, it's so bad when you see it back.
But that is a shocking miss from Aaron Moy.
You've got to say the part's a bit bobbly, bounced there just in front of me. I can't. I'm like you guys. I was waiting for it. Do you know something? I think
he's trying to be too cute.
I think he gives Craig Gordon so much respect. He's thinking, I'm going to make sure I put this so far away from. He just needs to hit the target, you score.
I'll give you one of my famous predictions. That tells me this is not Celtic's day, and Celtic will leave all 3 points in Edinburgh.
Or it tells you they're still creating chances, Mark. They've cut Hearts wide open there. That's what makes the chance so bad, actually, because Moy is 11 yards out to paint the picture and nobody anywhere near him, and he just takes the finish first time. He could probably hold on though. Here Hearts again on the attack, and it falls edge of the box, blasted over. It's coming across Aaron Moy onto his left foot. He could put it back where it comes from and wrong foot. Craig Gordon, as your colleague here, a goal getter in his day set, he can put that anywhere on target, but he hits it wide, and actually quite wide as well.
Horrendous miss, and at a time that Celtic needed to probably put that away. You know, they stop Hearts' momentum, and you just see they miss a chance. Hearts go right up the other end. By the way, Devlin, I think, should score.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's the psychology of particularly facing Celtic or Rangers. And see if Celtic score that, you're all fancying them to go on and win the game.
Of course you are. But they miss that. And by the way, I've been there as a player. Hugh said that you start to think
maybe it's not our day,
maybe it's not Celtic's day here.
I am telling you categorically, that's it finished.
Kyogo's been sent out to warm up. I look at Giakoumakis. He needs to get a little bit more for me. He's offered nothing.
Although to be fair, on that occasion there was like 3 Hearts players around him.
I still think they're
this is a good
Celtic
run this from Maeda. The pass is a bit behind Forrest, who strikes it. Good punch, Craig Gordon. He possibly should have slipped it into Aaron Moy, but maybe he's just remembered what Aaron Moy did in front of goal.
I'm not giving you
a minute ago and thinks, nah, not for me.
It's a good strike for Forrest, but just straight down the throat of Craig Gordon. Maybe either side him, I may have went in. But a good play again for Celtic, especially Maeda. You know, making that run, cutting through a defence.
Yeah, it's a good mini spell that actually from Celtic. They're looking quite fluid and confident going forward. O'Reilly joins in. You don't obviously see as much of him attacking because he's in the Callum McGregor role, if you like.
The only positive for Celtic, Gordon, was they lost the goal right after half time. It gives them the full second half to get back into the game. There's still plenty of football.
Yeah, there was a foul on Maeda as he burst forward. Advantage was given, but the yellow card still shown afterwards, and we've got an equaliser at Tynecastle.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
I think that was 90 seconds after Hugh said it was categorically over, so he's getting better. It lasted a bit longer than normal. Georgios Giakoumakis rises to head home. It's a good header from him, 6-yard line. Dreadful defending from Hearts. Of course they'll look at it. Does he pull anyone? Does he push anyone? No. If they manage to see something in there, you would be surprised. It's a good header, and we're level at Tynecastle. What a game! Overall, what a game!
What a delivery that is, but what a header! You know, shows real strength, a determination to get in there. He's right in the middle of the 6-yard box, and he directs it down into the bottom corner. You're right, defending horrendous, but Ange Postecoglou and Giakoumakis won't care.
Before Hugh has his say here, which is going to be interesting, I was giving him a little bit of stick, but what I'd said was,
don't try and backtrack now.
No. At St Johnstone, when he was absolutely
the service, you did.
He got the service and he puts in the back of net. Only one winner there. I said they lost the goal. There's not great to lose goal. They lost the goal at a good time in the second half. Just didn't it? They've still got 46 minutes to go and play with added on time. With the quality they've got, they gave Hearts a warning with Moy. They didn't take it. I think Celtic will go and win this now.
I'm not sure.
Well, you also said it was categorically over. Come on, a bit of grace.
I was wrong to say it was categorically over. There you are. I have issued my retraction. But you're right though, it's a sensational game. I'm just waiting. There's one more VAR.
Yeah, probably.
and that will settle the day. So
An assist for Aaron Moy, good ball from him after.
Yeah.
Gordon, I'm telling you,
my player's not having the best of games.
you might
Gordon.
need your
No, like
Burnaby's membership in your favourites club is
one
on the brink
swallow
as he gives
doesn't
the
make
ball
a
away.
summer. One
Again.
swallow does not make a summer.
but he's been slack all afternoon.
Yeah, but that's one swallow. It's a summer. He'll be back.
What a game we've got on our hands. We've had 4 goals, we've had penalties given, penalties not given, disallowed goals, VAR drama, and here comes Maeda into the box. He sort of ran out of ideas
wrong
a bit,
decision,
and
wrong
it goes out,
decision.
but it's a corner.
You know what? That's where he needs to do better. You know, at the top end of the pitch, great at pressing, great pace to get away from people, but decision making in the final third lets him down at times, because that was a real opportunity there. Did great to get in the box.
Celtic look like they've upped the pace of this game a little bit.
Well, you look at the goal had actually been coming when you consider the Aaron Moy chance.
That's why they're a good side, Gordon, and you've got options there as well to come on and get this game back in their favour, and give Hearts a bit of credit. Started well second half, got that goal, but Celtic have upped the pace a little bit, and when they up the pace, they've got better players with better movement. They'll create more chances. You see the Hearts bench just now thinking we need to try and do something, because we're still got a point and we maybe get 3, but I think if they lose another goal to Celtic, it'll be curtains.
And this is where the managers earn their money, Mark, because for both of them now, what do you do if you're Robbie Nielsen? Do you stick or twist? I'm sure Ange Postecoglou's got absolutely no doubt he would consider making attacking changes to press on and win this. If you're Robbie Nielsen, are you trying to stay in it a bit longer? What's your thought process?
I think you're trying to, like Dad said, you might get another couple of chances.
Here's Aaron Moy, edge of the box, and it's in the back of the net. Is the flag up? It's not for now. I'll press my button anyway.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Hearts 2, Celtic 3, but of course we'll have to wait and see. The Hearts players thought that Maeda was offside, and this notion that it stops you celebrating. Tell that to the Celtic fans behind the goal. As the shot comes in, it's miles onside. Miles onside, no problem there. Hearts 2, Celtic 3. Hugh Keevins, retraction number 2, if you don't mind.
I can categorically say I am the worst forecaster in the SPFL, and I wish 794 other offences to be taken into consideration.
You've just had one of those days, Hugh. You've opened your mouth and let your belly rumble, and it's not worked.
By the way, have you noticed this? There is a suggestion that there are no half-time pies today, and that's what set him. He's never recovered from that
did
news.
hear this rumour.
Someone told him
He
at
was
11
angry.
o'clock this morning.
He was angry,
and it's just knocked him all off.
For a 6-hour shift,
You see, I was right in every respect in the first half. I'm having a game of 2 halves here. I said to you that the referee was incompetent first half, and he was, and that Celtic had been denied a goal and a penalty, and they were. But I've fallen apart the second half. I've lost my shape.
Get yourself back together, Hugh.
do you know what he
There's
needs?
plenty of time.
This is
Red Bull. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, today's
get
the day.
the Red Bull
if he's
on
never
you.
had one before,
There's plenty of coffee there. Do you know?
other energy drinks are
Do you know what
available.
I've got to say, Gordon? I looked at, and it's Postecoglou is very good at this. Hugh said, he wouldn't wait for an hour for that substitutions. You look at Giakoumakis, he's offered nothing, right? Maeda offered nothing the first half. You thinking, change it, you've got Kyogo, you've got Abada, you get people, Haksabanovic that can come on and like that. He leaves them there, every faith in them. What happens? 2 goals.
And Mark, that is the thing about Maeda. I know he gets a lot of stick, and people have concerns about the quality, but he'll always score those types of goals because he gets himself in areas. He's
Oh no!
Ooh, hold on a
was it?
second.
Oh,
Penalty
penalty.
to Hearts. Nick Walsh points to the spot.
We have got
Get
a
that
game.
checked.
Cammy Devlin again. This time it's Moritz Jens, not Cameron Carter-Vickers, and I'm going to have to get another look at it. That's another penalty.
That's a penalty.
Yeah, that's going to
That's a
stand.
penalty.
VAR won't overturn that. And Nick Walsh has got his bravery back. He didn't wait for VAR. He's pointed to the spot that time. And that's another clear penalty, isn't it?
Yep, 100%.
What a game, Hugh Keevins.
Well,
Come on, Hugh, back in.
Lawrence Shankland hat-trick now, and incredible. And then Kyogo will come on, and it'll be all the fun of the fair.
If you're Ange
do you know I
Postecoglou,
forgot
Mark,
that? Hat-trick.
how frustrated are you at your centre back there? He's on his heels,
Yeah.
taking a swipe at Cammy Devlin as he goes through. Same as Carter Vickers, but the Carter Vickers one was a bit more understandable, if you like.
Yeah, he was stretching. He probably had more of a chance of winning that. Jens, like you say, wasn't he anticipating that? Bit lazy maybe. Dangled his leg out, and it's a definite penalty.
Straight down the middle, Mark.
I don't think he'll go straight down the middle this time. I think he's going to go
to one of the corners.
I think he'll go to Joe Hart's left here.
We're on the brink of a Lawrence Shankland hat-trick.
And he's a sub.
He's a sub. To pull the game level
incredible.
with half an hour to go. And even if this goes in, you get the feeling we might not be done yet. But up he steps then. Here he comes. Lawrence Shankland saved, but the rebound is in the back of the net.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Josh Ginnelly rolls onto the turf in celebration. Again, it'll be checked, of course. We need to get used to that stuff. But my initial reaction, I don't think he was offside or encroaching, but we'll get another look at it. Hearts 3, Celtic 3 as things stand. Well, we're going to need a lie down after this.
Game of the season. And who knows where it's going now. Astonishing roller coaster. At Celtic at 3-2, you're thinking they've pulled themselves back and they've done magnificently well.
I thought this Shankland makes a mess of the rebound, and Ginnelli is.
It's not the Shankland's off, but when he kicks it.
Right,
right
now
we're going to need to get another look. Hugh Keevins,
I
hold
said
that thought.
Gordon, I said right away. I put my hand up right away because
you've scuffed a few passes in your time. You know, I should have listened to you.
I'll tell you what, see if it does stand Celtic, they've 3 men in front of him. I don't think that. I think Mark's.
Now remember, just to because we're getting used to the process, so the lines will be drawn from where Josh Ginnelly's furthest part of his body is that he can score with. The same line will be drawn from the last Celtic defender, and there needs to be daylight between those lines now. Remember there was complaints in the English Premier League about toenails and all that stuff. Daylight. If those two lines overlap in any way, the goal will stand.
I don't think it's a goal, is it?
It's not going to stand.
It's not. Oh no, is he going to monitor?
No, he won't go to the monitor because it's a factual decision.
Right, okay, so it's not a goal.
It's either offside or it's not. The goal does not.
Where's he going?
Stand.
Is he retaking the penalty? Because
people are in the box.
Encroachment from 2 Celtic players, which was the case.
This is unbelievable.
When you look at it back, look, there you are. Is it Matt O'Reilly, Moritz Jens are both in the box, and had they not been, the goal wouldn't have stood.
I think
what?
Shankland, come on, let's
offside.
Go.
But anyway,
I
know, but
we'll never know. We'll never know. But at this point,
Shankland again. I like this
penalty retaken. I can't
handle
this drama here.
None of the other games will go ahead. We're all watching this.
This is incredible.
We're back to a Lawrence Shankland hat-trick.
He'll smash it down the middle.
Lawrence Shankland's now taking his 3rd penalty of the day. He'll come on as a sub. He scored another one as well.
Does change his side.
No, he'll smash it down the middle.
Yeah, here he comes. Lawrence Shankland's going to be saved this time. No, it's not.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
What a game. Hearts 3, Celtic 3, 65 minutes on the clock. A penalty awarded. The goal goes in the rebound. That doesn't stand because there were Celtic players encroaching in the box. The penalty gets retaken and Lawrence Shankland sticks it away. Hearts 3, Celtic 3 with half an hour to go. Hugh Keevins.
And this will introduce the argument that to bring in VAR mid-season, 2 weeks ago, the encroachment wouldn't have been noticed.
Probably not, but the linesman might have spotted it. That's what he's there for.
But anyway, it's sensational. This will dominate conversation for a long, long time to come. Celtic
making the changes.
Abada, Haksabanovic,
Kyogo coming on.
Greg
Taylor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right call there. Bernaby's had an
awful
awful afternoon, but I mean, I've been in here a long time, watched a lot of games. I don't think I've seen a game of football like this in here. It has been
incredible,
unbelievable. And VR, look, VR aside, I know VR's put paid to a lot of the decisions, but 3-3, the football, how open it is, it's been an incredible afternoon.
And Hearts are still really going for this. It makes a mockery of their form, and it is tradition and history coming into play here. Hearts love to play against Celtic, and they have made light of their injury difficulties and everything else.
And on that last one, Gordon, There are two Celtic players in the box. Again, Hugh says fine. Debates about whether it would have stood, previous weeks or whatever. But that's why VAR has been brought in, because those things can be hard to spot. Two Celtic players encroached in the box. Can you have any complaints?
I'll be honest with you, 2 or 3 weeks ago, or last week, that we wouldn't have spotted that. And VAR's there for the right reason, and that's the right reason. Because if you look at it back, there are Celtic players in the box. It's a retake. Not happy for Celtic, but if it went their way, they'd be delighted. So that's why VAR's there, Gordon. Because I agree with you. I think a week ago, without VAR, nobody would have picked that up.
Listen, the assistant might have, but I do take the point, because you didn't see it too often. Barry Macias is a great run from him, and it's crossed in over the head of everyone. Are we getting a winner here?
I think we will get a winner. I think there's enough time left and the game's that open.
It's only 67 minutes going.
To be honest, I can't call which way it's going to go though, because Celtic have created numerous chances.
You change your mind with every goal, don't you? Because I felt pretty sure Celtic would go on and win this, Hearts, and then Hearts.
You look at Hearts when they go at this Celtic back four. You look at Devlin's opportunity as well. He should have scored, so this could go either way.
First action for Leela Badas to have a cross cut out by Craig Gordon. Lawrence Shankland's the first domestic player to score a hat-trick against Celtic since properly going back here.
Right,
Hugh, I'm looking at your era, Gordon's era.
Really?
80s?
No way, that long.
80s?
Before you were born, Matt. No, probably
Ali McCoist.
No. What year were you born?
84.
You were 1.
Right, okay. 84 would have been. No, it wasn't McCoist.
85 it'll be.
85.
Stevie Archibald.
Frank McDougall.
Aberdeen.
In October 85. There we go. It's the anniversary or thereabouts. That's incredible. Roger Hanna providing that stat, obviously.
I can't believe we're still 20 odd minutes to go. See, in a normal week, this game would be finished now.
Yeah.
We'd be talking to the boys round about the ground. 20 odd minutes.
I'll tell you what, there's a lull in play. I think it's Josh Ginnelly's down getting treatment. Let's get some team news from Ibrox, because that's a massive game. There's big expectation, not only for a win, but for a performance as well, Gabriel. Or maybe not. I can't hear him. I thought he was
watching
there.
We'll
get to him
watching this game
in just a second. Yeah, we'll get back to him and see what happens. Still just a lull. I don't know if Hearts will make the change. I think they are. Alan Forrest, he's not going to face his brother, because
the way the day has gone, Alan Forrest has got to score the winner now, hasn't he?
Did James Forrest go off, or did he stay on? Remind me. There's too much happening.
He went off.
He went off. Yeah, so he did. So it's one Forrest on not long after the other one goes off. So Alan Forrest comes on. James pictured on the bench.
Would you not have brought
quite the afternoon?
You not have brought Kyogo on?
I thought he would have, Hugh.
Giakoumakis maybe in the best period of the game, though, isn't he? Because he scored
and also the threat, the set plays. Gordon, he's good, very good in there. He's very dominant, as we've seen. Look, he doesn't really get a lot of calls wrong, Postecoglou, but interesting. I agree with the boys. I think there's another goal here for someone. I think it's just to open a game of football.
Incredible, really incredible. I was going to run through a list of the big talking points. I'm not sure I can. It'll take forever. But let's just say, if you're just joining us, 6 goals, penalties given, penalties not given, penalties retaken, and some VAR drama for you to feast upon. So it's all there for the open line. It usually waits until 5. People are actually phoning in already.
I told you
2. Maybe we'll try and open them a bit earlier if we can. But obviously there's a lot of big games this afternoon as well. So Hearts hack that one clear. We will get you team news from Ibrox and the other grounds very soon. Again, are we in a mini lull in this game? Is the sort of, it's a bit hectic again, isn't it?
Well, they're entitled to a breather, I think. If we are breathless in a nicely heated studio, how do you think they feel in the rain? I think Celtic also have to reflect on the penalties, because both Moritz Jens and Cameron Carter-Vickers have given away stone wallers, and they haven't been defending as resolutely as they can.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. See, when you look at that Celtic defensively, guys that are usually reliable, Carter-Vickers,
the Jens one's clumsier, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, they're both similar, but it just seems like he was very
even Ralston, when he's come in, he's always been a good understudy for Juranovic. Today I think he looks nervy at times. He's gave the ball away. Bernabei, I don't think is his best day. So the back four haven't performed.
Here's the first
great.
we've seen of Haksabanovic, and he gets some help down that side from Greg Taylor. But Hearts do really well. Michael Smith, it was important to get him back into the team soon. And Lawrence Shankland's done brilliant, not only scoring 3 goals, but that's great link-up play in his own defensive area. It's hectic stuff. This Celtic are snapping into tackles, winning it back, then giving it away, then Hearts give it away, but Cammy Devlin somehow retains it. The two Australians tussling, Aaron Moy and Cammy Devlin. Free kick Hearts on the halfway line. Is Gabriel there this time for teams?
Let's have a go, Gordon. It could be a huge day here at Ibrox in the Premiership title race. As it stands, Rangers could go level with Celtic, joint top of the league, and it's another 6 changes from Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. Al McGregor, Antonio Cholak and Ryan Kent all come back in, whilst Alfredo Morelos is relegated to the bench. The 11 that he has picked to face Livingston this afternoon is Alan McGregor in goal, a back four of James Tavernier, Leon King, Ben Davies, Borna Barisic. The midfield 3 stays the same: Stephen Davis, John Lundstrom and Mike Tillman, but it's a new front 3: Scott Arfield, Antonio Cholak and Ryan Kent. The substitutes are McLaughlin, Yilmaz, Matondo, Sands, Morelos, Wright, Roof, McCann and Sakala. Well, what about their opposition? It's 6th place Livingston. A win today could send them 3rd. They've made 2 changes from their win over St Johnstone last weekend. Bahambula and Guthrie are out. Fitzwater and Shinnie are back in. We're expecting a 4-5-1 formation from Davy Martindale's side. Ingol Shamal George, back 4 of Nicky Devlin, Ayo Obilai, Jack Fitzwater and Christian Montano. Sean Kelly, Stephen Kelly and Jason Holt in the middle, with Scott Pittman and Andrew Shinnie. Just in front of them, Joe Newell leads the line. And substitutes are Hamilton, Logridge, Penrice, Kankar, Boys, Bahambula, Goncalves, Guthrie and Anderson. And as I say, Gordon, we're about an hour away from kick-off, and you're starting to get the sense here at Ibrox they feel it could be a huge pivotal day in the title race.
Are the big screens working? That's all you need to know.
They are, and just in front of me is the VAR monitor. Not many fans in here yet, most of them still watching events unfold at Tynecastle, but I've been told that the referee David Moreau will be in contact with Greg Aitken. He's in the VAR room at Clydesdale House, and all eyes will be on him come 3 p.m.
It must be about 100 degrees in Clydesdale House this afternoon. Maybe we've used up all our drama on one game this afternoon.
No
wishful
chance.
thinking.
No, there's something has to come.
We will see. A huge expectation there though, Gordon. You've heard the phone in this week, and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, he's acknowledging as much. Rangers, look, if this stays the way it is at Tynecastle, then Rangers win and they'll go level with Celtic, so that will be a boost obviously. But in isolation, Rangers fans aren't interested in a 1-goal victory and a poor performance today. They want something more convincing based on the phone calls this week.
I think as much as first and foremost result, 100%, they've got to put a performance in today. The Rangers fans were on here on Thursday night. Mark and I were doing the show, and it was incredible. They just put their team into the semi-finals, but they were not happy with the football style of play, things that were going on at Ibrox, certain players. The manager was coming in for it. So as much as it could be a real good weekend for Rangers, if Celtic drop anything here today at Tynecastle, they'll still have to perform, because I don't think the Rangers fans will just accept a 1-0. I think we'll get more phone calls. I think they're looking for a performance this afternoon.
I think the natural reaction is if Celtic drop 2 points with a draw or all 3, then it will provoke a reaction among the players at Ibrox. The crowd will drive them on, so it depends what happens these last 15 minutes at Tynecastle.
It's not really as frantic as it was. Well, it's frantic, but not in the same sort of attacking way as it was before. Mark Wilson.
No, it's not. We're just watching Moyes get knocked to the head, second time in a week for him. It's a sore one, so it's just died down. Well, the goalmouth action has just died down a bit. Plenty of battles still going on in the middle of the park. I just feel there is still going to be a winner in this one, and
well, it might be here because Aaron Moy, but it's not a great pass to Abada, and Hearts get men back, but it's in the back of the net at Tynecastle.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's Greg Taylor of all people, sent on by Ange Postecoglou. Not sure with the intention of getting the winner, but he might well have done it. He doesn't score many, but that's how high Celtic play those full-backs. It's a striker's finish. He's had to slide inside the 6-yard box. Yes, the customary checks will take place, but difficult to see anything untoward. Straight away, a good instinct from Greg Taylor, slides in. Hearts 3, Celtic 4 in what must be one of the games of the season, Hugh Keevins.
It is, without shadow of doubt, the game of the season so far, and the phrase I always use has been brought to life. This game is a separate life form. It's 3-4 in Celtic's favour, and there will be 15 minutes left with time added on, and I don't think it's finished yet. I don't think the goal scoring is over.
Probably not, but incredible for Greg Taylor there. He takes that like a seasoned striker, right place at the right time, follows up, and you're right to mention, Gordon, it's how high those Celtic fullbacks play, occupying the box when it's coming down the other side. And he just wanted it more than the Hearts defender. Was it Smith that was trying to pick him up there? Taylor just wanted it more and slid in. It's his first Premiership goal for Celtic. What a time to get it.
Yeah, and
incredible. What a game this is. I keep saying it like
it's got everything
it
going.
really does.
If VAR's brought this to our game, well done. It's got absolutely everything. 7 goals so far. Lots of talking points, but you get back to Greg Taylor there. Sometimes when you're looking for a goal, you don't bring on fullbacks. You make forward decisions, substitutions, midfield substitutions. He looked at Bernabei, who did not have the greatest of games. Taylor has been brilliant and decided, right, he gives us more attacking option, gets his rewards. Terrific from Greg Taylor.
Mark, it's all well and good, getting forward sort of on the ball, but he's actually he's in a striker's position there to start. It's not like an overlap down the line. You see that a lot from fullbacks, but he's genuinely slid inside the 6-yard box like a striker would do.
Yeah, he's just playing with that belief just now that it's hard to match. Once you get there, you believe you can do it, and so he's made up that ground, confident that if it breaks down, he's got enough to get back. His performances this season have been incredible. Even in the Champions League stage, he's been a total standout. And Daz is right, it's a great call for the manager, bring them on, but the player has still got to go out there and prove it was the right decision. And it's an incredible story for Greg Taylor this season.
Now a test of Celtic's defence, because they have defended poorly. They've given away 2 daft penalty kicks, and they're still giving the ball away in their own penalty box.
Yeah, it might not be done yet. Greg Taylor though chips that one clear, gives it to Haksabanovic. I need to get team news from the other grounds. Problem is, can't take your eyes off this.
What a pass that
is. It's a lovely pass from Haksabanovic, but it's a great tackle, Cammy Devlin. But then O'Reilly wins it back. It is absolutely breathless. Celtic are still not done here. Sliced cross, is it out for a goal kick? Right, let's get team news from Fir Park. Roger Hanna.
Yeah, Celtic scoring 4 on the road today, and they scored 4 here in the Premier Sports Cup quarter-final in midweek. Gordon, Motherwell now lost to both halves of the Old Firm here in the past week. They've actually lost 5 of their last 6 games. That 5-0 win at Ross County been the notable exception. They're on, it's left with just 4 points above the drop zone, and Stevie Hamill also battling something of an injury list here at Fir Park. But if you want someone to come rolling into town and improve your mood, then Aberdeen are definitely that team. The 4-0 defeat at Tannadice a couple of weeks ago extended a horrific away run. Just 2 wins in 23 games away from Pittodrie now. They have beaten Hearts and Partick Thistle at home this week, but Jim Goodwin must be concerned by that form away from home. They've not won in their last 4 visits here either, Gordon, and it's so long since their last triumph at Fir Park that Joe Lewis, the backup goalie, is the only player remaining from that match day squad. I'll give you the teams today. Motherwell, Liam Kelly in goals, the back 4 again: Paul McGinn, Sondre Solholm, Ricky Lamy and Matt Penny. Midfield, Sean Goss and Callum Slattery, and then Blair Spittle, Ross Tierney and Stuart McKinstry will support the lone frontman Kevin Van Veen, a man who has preyed on the Aberdeen defence time and time again in a Motherwell jersey. The home subs: Oxborough, O'Donnell, Mugabe, Maguire, Cornelius, Morris, Shields, Miller and Ferry. As for Aberdeen, they go with Keller Roos in goals. A back 3 we think: Ross McCrory, Anthony Stewart and Liam Scales. Across the middle, Jaden Richardson, Connor Barron, Elber Ramadani and Jack McKenzie, and then Leighton Clarkson and Duke supporting top scorer Bojan Mijovski. On the bench, Lewis, Morris, Beshowan, Watkins, Duncan, Milne, Kennedy and Ramirez. And I'll need to give you the third team as well. All these officials: Ewan Anderson's the referee. We've got Graham McNeely, Paul O'Neill running the lines, Dan McFarlane the 4th official. We've got an assistant VAR in Jonathan Bell, and the actual VAR is Andrew Dallas, who lives just up the road, goes to the gym with a well-known Motherwell season ticket holder, and gives us a first VAR conspiracy theory at Fir Park today.
Can't wait. All the drama, all the fun, all the excitement. Let's see if it translates from Tynecastle to the other grounds. We've given you Rangers Livy teams, we've given you Motherwell Aberdeen teams. Hugh, there still could be a sting in the tail at Tynecastle yet.
Because Celtic are defending so poorly. You know, on top of losing 3 goals, on top of giving away 2 needless penalty kicks, they also have Joe Hart to thank for making 2 terrific saves. And at the moment, they do not look convincing at the back. They need, this sounds ridiculous, they need a 5th goal.
They might well get it. They've got a corner kick over on the far side, some defensive work from Barry Mackay. We'll get you team news from Rugby Park, the Smiza Stadium as well, very soon indeed. I think a couple of the Scottish Cup games, or at least one, will have kicked off. Your old Brecon team, Mark, against Stirling Albion.
Come on, Stirling.
I
just like Stirling and the castle and the monument.
That is absolutely
like that.
terrible. But this time you'd be 1 down.
That was a 2 o'clock kick-off, that one. So
I'd be finished.
Maybe more than that.
Underway, I think.
3 or 4.
Aaron Moy with the corner this time, headed high into there by Keogh, and it's bouncing around and not quite cleared this time by Cammy Devlin, who's had a action-packed afternoon, as he so often does. The last time we saw him, he was getting sent off, but this time he's been on the receiving end of 2 fouls that led to penalties. Nottingham Forest, incidentally, are beating Liverpool by a 1-0 with 1 minute left there.
Incredible result, that.
Yeah, that would that lift him off the bottom?
Imagine you're a Liverpool fan just now.
They went off midweek when they get a draw.
Who?
Forest.
No, they didn't. They're bottom of the league this morning.
Were they?
Yes.
Yeah, who Liverpool that go and spank Rangers, then beat Man City,
yeah,
and then come back
and then get BR Forest.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about that. We've got enough drama of our own, believe me, without worrying about anything else. It's nice play, Haksabanovic. It's going to be kept in though. He thought he was maybe getting a corner, and as soon as there is a drop here, I'll give you some more team news, but very difficult.
Don't know what Devlin's thinking there. I mean, it was a good ball to Devlin. I thought he just could chase that, and he's running for his own half at the Celtic defence. Tries to back heel it, gives the ball away. It's still frantic here. The game shows no sign of settling, even though we're into the
It's been absolutely brilliant, hasn't it?
Our game of the season, by far.
You could not itemise all of the events that have taken place because you forget something.
Because they've so much. Each of the bullet points has got a little subplot to it, with everything that's gone on. And
as I say, it sounds ridiculous to say that Celtic need a 5th goal, to be sure.
Yeah, slack play from Celtic, out for a corner. Andy Halliday's coming on. If he comes on and scores the equaliser, well, it'll be interesting to get.
He'll be in here by 5 o'clock.
The phone lines will be
he's sent off for his celebration.
Anyway, Connor Smith and Andy Halliday coming on. Michael Smith going off, as is Keogh. Let's quickly get team news then from Paisley. David Friel.
Yeah, Gordon, I can assure the St Mirren fans, first of all, that the manager Stephen Robinson will still be in the dugout today amid fresh links to that Northern Ireland job. Ian Barraclough sacked yesterday. The Irish FA are starting the process of replacing him. Michael O'Neill is a clear favourite, but Stephen Robinson was interviewed for the Post last time out and does have admirers on the Irish FA board, so I think I'll probably want to watch in the coming weeks. But he's obviously his focus today is getting 3 points for St Mirren, which could take them to third in the table depending on Aberdeen's result. They haven't been at their best in the last couple of weeks, fortunate to get a draw against Kilmarnock last weekend, but Robinson will clearly view this game as a chance to get back to winning ways. He's made 2 changes. Declan Gallagher, Scott Tansel out with Alec Gogic and Richard Tate in. So Trevor Carson in goals, Marcus Fraser, Alec Gogic, Charles Dunn at the back, Ryan Strain, Keanu Bacchus, Ethan Erahon, Mark O'Hara and Richard Tate across the middle, with Curtis Main and Jonah Ayungu up front. Subs for St Mirren are Minsky, Kenny, Shaughnessy, Flynn, Taylor, Kilty, Grieve, Brophy and Henderson. As for United, they've been in really good league form, 7 points out of the last 9, doing well, but they're still second bottom as things stand. They were also knocked out the Premier Sports Cup at Kilmarnock during the week and were pretty poor on the night. United actually haven't lost here since December 2017, but there have been a few draws in there. They've also made 2 changes. Ilmari Niskanen's in, as is Craig Sibbald, and Kieran Freeman and Dylan Levitt drop out. So it looks like similar formation, 3-5-2. Carl Johan Eriksson in goals, Liam Smith, Ryan Edwards, Scott McMahon at the back, Ilmari Niskanen, Arnaud Djoum, Craig Sibbald, Jamie McGrath against his former club, and Aziz Bezic across the middle with Tony Watt and Glenn Middleton up front. Subs for United are Birigiti, Graham, Pollitt, Harks, Fletcher, Mikason, Sadat, Freeman, and the referee at the Smiza Stadium is Grant Irvin, and the VAR here is that wily old fox Alan Muir.
Alan Muir, get the computer screen ready. We've got, where are we, about 4 minutes of the 90 left, but that doesn't tell the whole picture here at Celtic Park, because we've had all sorts of checks in this second half. Greg Taylor squares one across, Craig Gordon has to be full stretch. It's going to be a corner to Celtic.
You did it. You did it. You said you would call it Celtic Park one more time.
What is going on
And you
here?
did it,
Seriously.
You know what?
In the brain.
Yeah, Craig Gordon does well. I thought Greg Taylor could have actually maybe taken his touch in. He was almost waiting on a striker or someone making the move for him, but it was a good move for Celtic. That would have finished the game off.
It's still at Nottingham Forest 1-0 up in Liverpool. Alisson is up trying to score. In fact, has he not done that before? Anyway, they're looking for late drama, but it'll be hard pushed to match the drama we've had here as Barry Mackay goes forward. Carter Vickers.
Whoa.
Oh, I'll tell you what,
Brilliant.
a bit of criticism from the officials, but the assistant, is that David Room, is that his name? Oh no, it's not, it's the other one on the other side, has just hurdled Carter Vickers like something straight out of the Olympics. Hugh Keevins.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
They always say that the
On your toes.
they're not fit, the match officials, but he's just shown that he's super fit. If Celtic were to lose a fourth goal, they would only have themselves to blame today, because the defending has been somewhere south of erratic.
Yeah, you'll be able to, for either side, you'll be able to dust off that great saying. If you're Hearts, you say we scored 3 goals against Celtic and didn't win. Or if you were Celtic, you'd say, and Hearts to equalise, we scored 4 goals away from home and didn't win. But at the moment it is going to be 3 points. It will move Celtic 5 points clear at the top, and it will be over to Rangers to respond, I must stress, as things stand, because this game has done nothing but provide the unexpected. Since the moment that it kicked off, it has been blockbuster stuff at Tynecastle.
Yeah,
there we go.
There's games in a season that fans look back and, if they win the title and say that was a moment, or it was this will be one of them. If Celtic go on to win the title, fans will fondly remember this game. 4-3, we had penalties against us, we had goals ruled out, we had decisions, maybe VR got it, but we still managed to go over the line. Well, it's not quite done yet, but I guarantee this will be one at the end of the season that the players, the fans, the manager will look back in and say, yeah, that was a big moment in the season.
And if it's a moment created by a fullback who came on as a sub, then an even bigger story. But it's not over yet.
Always take the point, Gordon, that you should be strong enough to hold that there, because Haksabanovic is turning away from Andy Halliday into the box and saved Craig Gordon. I was pretty certain we were getting a fifth goal for Celtic. Leila Bada, it popped up, he tried to volley it on the spin, and really any contact would have taken it in because he was so close, but he just scuffed it.
It's that pair again, Haksabanovic, Taylor.
Well, see, the point that I was about to make before I stopped was, I know you like Bernabei, and we know Maeda gets his goals, so don't want to be too critical, but especially in Jota's absence, are you looking at a real first choice left-sided pairing now for Celtic?
100%. Taylor's been excellent since he come on. He's made such a difference, obviously highlighted by the goal, but down that left hand side with Haksabanovic, they've got a good understanding. But you would probably still say, and the Celtic fans will be screaming at the radio, that Jota will be their number one pick down the left hand. But it's good options to have. Celtic have scored 4 goals, they've been behind today and everything. You would think Kyogo, but the manager sticks by his team with Giakoumakis. He gets a goal as well, so he seems to get it right more often than not, Postecoglou.
Here comes Haksabanovic again. He must be so tricky, Mark. He just, every time you think he's gone onto the right foot, he drags it back onto the left.
Not worse playing against a player like that out wide. They can go on both
Hatate
sides.
comes over, makes it that 3, and all of a sudden overloads in the left hand side and causes problems. We witnessed that the other night as well. We're seeing it here today. The minute Taylor gets a Haksabanovic, Hatate's right over there working with them.
The amount of messages I'm getting from people on Twitter just along the lines of, hope you're ready for the open line. Laughing face, laughing face, laughing face, laughing face. Fans of all teams, by the way. Extend the show till midnight. Where's your bulletproof vest? It's nice to know you're thinking of us, I must admit. It's we'll see.
I've stood here longer than any of you, and in my experience, no one takes a day like this worse than Celtic fans. And even though they may win the match with 5 minutes added on, incidentally, there's room for another 4 goals here, they are going to go crazy today.
All good fun, that's what we're here for.
Opportunity for Hearts here to put it into the box. Silly free kick given away by Celtic. Snodgrass just going to put this right in the middle.
5 minutes added on, which is the least you would expect given all the VAR stoppages and penalty retakes. But Hearts are not out of this yet. It goes to the back post, but I just think it was too high
a push
for Lawrence Shankland.
Yeah, do you know what? I take my hat off to these lads. I couldn't play in this modern day football now, it's too long. That's just been how much drain you as a player nowadays. The pace of the game, everything that happens. As Celtic make another substitution,
yeah, maybe anticipating more of an aerial bombardment in the last couple of minutes. Oliver Abildgaard, who's noticeably taller than
Moy,
say Rio Hatate or Aaron Moy, so you'd expect maybe one of them to make weight.
Either one of them had interesting afternoons.
Rio Hatate.
I think again he's been good. Maybe not as good as he's been in the previous two games, but he's still been a threat.
Let's quickly get team news from Rugby Park with Fraser.
Yeah, I'll give you it very quickly. I'm hoping for a bit of drama that you guys are watching at Tynecastle, because this has got the makings of quite a close game, not too many goals, but 6 camera VAR here. Remember, you guys are watching 12, 14 cameras, 6 cameras here. Will it pick up everything? So that's going to be the big test. But both teams come here with a bit of confidence. Recent displays and results have been good. Kelly unbeaten the last 4, including midweek winning the cup against Dundee United, much needed revenue, and of course a chance to get to the final. But as with many teams in the Premiership, been pretty inconsistent, because that unbeaten run came in the back of 3 defeats, so you don't know what you're going to get here from Kelly or Ross County, who themselves bounced back from a heavy 5-0 home defeat against Motherwell to beat Livy and draw with Dundee United. So they'll come here with a bit of confidence, feeling a bit better about themselves, and that Livy win was their first win since beating Kelly in Dingwall in August, so they know they can win today. Kelly, of course, without Kyle Lafferty, who's suspended. It's one of 4 changes. Stokes drops to the bench, as does Rory McKenzie, and Alston is injured. In come Cameron, Mayo, McInroy and Cresceni. It's a 3-4-3 formation. Zach Hemming in goals, a back 4 of Ash Taylor, Joe Wright and Lewis Mayo. In midfield, Ryan Abeloso, Kerr McInroy, Alan Power and Ben Cresceni, with Daniel Armstrong who's in form just now, and Innes Cameron and Jordan Jones as the forward. Sam Walker, Chris Stokes, Brad Lyons, Liam Polworth, Rory McKenzie, Fraser Murray, Stephen Warnock, Bobby Wales and Ollie Shaw on the bench. Just one change for Ross County after that draw against United. Ben Purrington was injured in that game, was out for a while, but a light for light replacement in George Harmon. So 4-2-3-1, Ross Laidlaw in goals, Callum Johnson, Jack Baldwin, Alex Iacoviti and George Harmon. Sitting in midfield, Jordan Tilson and David Canola. Then we've got Ross Callaghan, Jordi Hawula and Wura Edwards behind the lone striker Jordan White. Jake Eastwood, Ross Monroe, Dominic Samuel, Jan Danda, Josh Sims, Victor Latourie, Keith Watson, Kazim Olagbe and William Akio on the bench. Referee is Colin Stephen, and as always now the VAR referee is the more experienced Don Robertson.
Leila Bada has just scored, but the flag, it stayed down as it's meant to. Remember, it stayed down. He was allowed to go through. He puts the ball in the back of the net, then the flag goes up. But here it allows the process to take place, so they can take another look, and if he was onside, the goal will stand. But I think it's already been established. No, he's checking it at the moment, Nick Walsh. But that's fine. You're laughing. That's what's meant to happen.
No, I'm just
that's
laughing
okay.
because
Come on.
I said the other night, I hope we get loads of VAR checks, and
but
we've got
enough. We're going to have enough drama with the actual controversial ones. This is exactly what's designed to happen.
I thought right away that was miles offside. See, when I seen the replay,
it's a bit closer.
I'm thinking that's close.
And what did I tell you? The two lines, if they overlap in any way, the benefit of the doubt goes with the attacker. There needs to be daylight between those two lines when they're drawn.
Offside.
There we go. Offside. Fine. Offside. Hearts 3, Celtic 4. 30 seconds remaining. It is a minimum of 5 minutes, so we've had that check within the 5 minutes, so there'll be more than 30 seconds remaining. So don't bump your gums about that if we go over the 5 minutes. As it goes out for, is it going to be a free kick? Yeah, I think it is.
Do
you know what's interesting? Is this? Am I right in saying this game has been quite low on bookings, considering we've had so much drama? No,
Civic, Smith,
Aaron Moy
get booked, did he?
Cochrane in the first with Forest.
I was just wondering if because if so, that's probably a booking for Connor Smith. He sort of wipes a bad out. Did he get it?
Yeah,
he got a booking yellow.
There we are. Ignore me, as you usually do. We're past the 5 minutes. It is a minimum of 5 minutes, and we had the VAR check, like I said, in that period. Celtic still lump the ball forward. They don't tend to sit back. They did bring Abildgaard on, which is about as close as Ange Postecoglou would get to sort of going defensive. Swapping one midfielder for a taller midfielder. Going to need to be something pretty special now, though, because it goes back to Joe Hart.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe. Exactly where Celtic would want the ball. Joe Hart, plenty of time to launch it forward.
Offside.
Flag goes up.
Hang on a minute, actually.
Yet. It is not done yet.
Ping pong.
96 minutes on the clock.
It's going to go right back up. Craig Gordon, chance to launch it right on top of Carter Vickers and Jens.
Yeah, there will be one final chance here, or one final moment. It's a good header from Carter Vickers, and the full-time whistle goes. Good luck, Andrew McLean, condensing this into a full-time report.
Strap in, Hearts 3, Celtic 4, the full-time score at Tynecastle. 7 goals, penalties, VAR drama, and what has been an utterly crazy game here. Celtic with a lot of the ball in the early stages, but Hearts for the first 2 chances. Joe Hart saving from Barry Mackay and Robert Snodgrass, but it was a rare James Forrest header that opened the scoring. Seems like a long time ago now. A cross from the right, deflected up to him a few yards out. He had an empty net to aim for, and at that it was 1-0. Not long after, Anthony Ralston headed in, looked to make it 2-0 for Celtic, but Nick Walsh had already blown for a foul. An odd stoppage in play after Walsh appeared to communicate with VAR Stephen McLean, and then the game continued. Just before the break, it was a penalty. It was penalty and VAR drama galore before the break. Cammy Devlin was wiped out by Cameron Carter-Vickers. Looked a clear penalty at the time. Nick Walsh played on. He eventually went to the screen, and after a long wait, awarded the penalty. Cam from Lawrence Shankland from 12 yards to equalise. Then a minute later, played the ball off the hand of Michael Smith in the box. Huge claims from Celtic players, but no penalty given and no VAR check, much to the disbelief of Ange Postecoglou down in front of me. Right after the break, Hearts went ahead. Lawrence Shankland tapping in from Josh Ginnelly's cross, then miss of the season contender from Aaron Moy, who really should have equalised, but Celtic did equalise through Georgios Giacomakis, a header from a corner. He rose high in the 55th minute. That was to make it 2-2. 4 minutes later, they went ahead. Dyson Maida with a goal. He made it 3-2, but why would the action and the drama stop there? Because Hearts were then awarded a penalty after a Moritz Jens foul on Cammy Devlin. Lawrence Shankland with the spot kick. That was saved by Joe Hart. The rebound was converted by Josh Ginnelly, but step up VAR again. They looked to see if Ginnelly was offside. They looked for encroachment as well. The end result, the penalty had to be retaken. Lawrence Shankland stepped up again. Didn't make a mistake this time, firing past Joe Hart. That was his hat-trick, and that was 3-3. Postecoglou made changes, and it was 2 substitutes combining for the eventual winner. Leila Bada's deflected shot was rolling towards the back post, and there was Greg Taylor, of all people, to slide in and make it 4-3. And just before the full-time whistle, Leila Bada did find the back of the net. The flag stayed down initially before going up. That was checked by VAR. It was the correct decision. And if this is what the VAR era is going to be like in Scottish football, then we are in for some ride. I'm going for a lie down. The full-time score at Tynecastle is Hearts 3, Celtic 4.
The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard. Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard Podcast with Taggart's Motor Group. Already own a Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo and itching to change it, switch it up, trade it in? They've got superb trade-in deals right now. Call in for a chat. Taggart's, part of the Lookers family.